around big dude. I'm also an expert on drama. I know all kinds of drama. There's the good kind that comes with having a house full of kids. There's the bad kind like season-ending injuries. There's the necessary kind like having an agent in Hollywood. And there's silly drama like the drama around my percolating pectorals. And then there's the drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your high school diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org.
Or text diploma to 97779. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out. That's diploma to 97779. And leave the drama to actors like me.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes?
How could he do this to you? And for Sheila, she has split ends.
B, console her?
Oh, sweetie, this is going to happen a lot. 4, maybe 5 more times before you get married.
C, take charge?
Got to get this all straightened out. Give a little talking to, man to man, mano a mano. Hey, Steve! It's now a good time? No? Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D, help her find a new boyfriend?
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet. Nice, single boys. Never mind. How about some ice cream?
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is you over 30 years ago.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
And this is your mom when you drive her back from therapy.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
Roles change without us noticing, and in your new role, we help you help. AARP gives you the information to help care for your mom so that you can have patience with her, just like she did with you. Visit aarp.org/caregiving or call 1-877-333-5885 to get practical health and wellness tips to provide even better care for your loved one.
Are we there yet?
Remember, visit aarp.org/caregiving. AARP, we help you help. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
When I was little, I didn't talk for a long time. I liked things to always be the same. Anything new or different would scare and upset me. I was very sensitive to lights and sounds. It was almost like I had bigger eyes and ears than everyone else. So I built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. I didn't like looking people in the eye. It made me feel uncomfortable. I'd throw big tantrums over little things like when my socks didn't match. Sometimes I'd do the same things over and over. Until one day, I found out I had autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I learned how to live with it better.
You can see signs of autism in children as young as 18 months. Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese.
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzzed driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzzed driving, because buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. NFL Black Monday recap. Who got canned? Did Tyreek Hill quit on the Dolphins? He always quits on everybody. And should the NFL change their playoff format? And much, much more on a full week of Jabba in the Mouth. Going to give him a significant. They're going to have a ton of money to spend. Why not? Put in one of the top offensive players in the league. Michael Jordan said, I played 82 games. You don't see LeBron doing that.
A game where you got to go perform.
I told you, Giant fans, and Saquon Barkley, at this point, I'm gonna fight him all. A seven-nation army couldn't hold me back. They're gonna rip it off. Taking time. Say whatever you want about Patrick Mahomes. He's the best quarterback in the NFL. Really? We are back for a new show of Jabba in the Mouth. I'm your host, Errol Marks. My co-host, Jabba Chamberlain, and the speedster. He's back, ladies and gentlemen, for the new year, and he got a little shavy. He definitely shaved a little bit. Our executive producer, Mr. Aaron Fishman, our Sports Minute, Mr. Tommy Scoops, and our game show host himself, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Owen the Tick Rickner. And obviously, Mr. Goody as well. He'll be joining us a little bit later in the show. Go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out all our shows throughout the week, including Jabba in the Mouth every single Mondays and Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. All you have to do is to tune in and check out our local listings for all our shows and go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. It is snowing here in Long Island, New York, and throughout the country. The wave of snow is about to start, and slam, slam, slam did it do, but it didn't do much here in Long Island. I think we got 1 inch. That's all we got. It was nothing big, as everybody was crying. Everybody was food shopping and doing all that water, finding water and bottles and all that crazy. Like the world's going to end, Jabba. The world is absolutely going to end. And that's what people were doing yesterday, hunting for all the water and toilet paper. They did that for COVID, and they did it yesterday.
Yeah, it's terrible. Like they do it here, and the snow's gonna be gone. You have enough food in your pantry and everything, and it's like, what are we panicking for? Like, it's just a little snow. We live in Nebraska. Like, what's going on? Like, literally, one of my buddies, he's a news reporter here, and he's like, going to Costco before the snowstorm is a bad idea. I was like, dude, you'll be able to get out of your driveway and get to the store. Like, you'll be fine. Like, I don't get why people panic, especially here. Like, and especially like our first snow, and we didn't even get, it was like an inch. Western Nebraska got it worse than we did. But I'm like, what are you guys panicking for? Like, we live in Nebraska. You know exactly what it is. Like, what are we doing? But yeah, no, I don't get it either. Like, COVID obviously was different, but like this, it's like bread, water. Like, I'm like, so you tell me you don't have that at home already? Like, if we really if people really look in their,
what are you doing with toilet paper?
Yeah,
what are you running away with toilet paper?
Well, I'm a dude wipe guy, so.
No, I don't do that. My doctor told me not to use wipes. He says it's bad for your ass, if you know what I mean.
Well,
but
I mean,
you know what my doctor?
My butthole's nice. I'll tell you what. So I'm good.
My butthole's nice too. I mean, it's definitely clean.
Speedy, how's yours?
All that other
Speedy, how's your butthole?
Up and down.
Okay.
Depends on.
That's
down. Do you go up? or do you go
Fair.
down? Which way do you go?
Down.
You go down, you wipe your ass down?
I mean, it's pretty hard to go like this and wipe your ass.
I wipe my ass up. What are you talking about?
All right, so you could just go like that and then.
Are
twist
you
your hand.
are you a leaner or you go?
No, I lean. I definitely lean. I lean forward.
I'm a leaner.
Yes.
Oh, you
How
lean
could you-
yeah, got
How
you.
could you? How could you sit up straight and wipe your ass? I mean, seriously.
Some people like go the other way. I'm like, how? Like, I don't get that.
No, but here's a funny thing. And over where when I'm always out and about, most of these public bathrooms, because I don't really like to go in public bathrooms, they all
I'm not
have
a public pooper. No way. No public pooper.
They have
Nope.
automatic flushes. So every time you lean forward, the thing's like shooting up your ass. I mean, the water's going up your ass. I mean, if you like Old Faithful, Speedy does. I mean,
I've never been there.
You've never been to Old Faithful?
No.
Either have I. But I mean, you feel it, right?
How do I feel a geyser from a state that Jabba's closer to than we are?
True. That's true.
But you know, I do enjoy sitting on a toilet and laying one out. You know, it's definitely something that it's definitely enjoyable to me. I don't like, and by the way, I don't understand people. They sit on the toilet and they look at their phone. You know, that is not sanitary. I mean, you put that phone to your ear and you're wiping your ass and looking at YouTube or on Facebook. Who the hell does that? I'll tell you a funny story quickly before we get into the show. I was actually, last week? I was at work and I work in a hospital, half of the day. And I was in the hospital. There's 2 stalls right next to each other. So I had to go, and this is the cleanest bathroom in the hospital. So I went to the bathroom. This guy comes in. He runs into and he closes the toilet, and he sits. And he's sitting, and he's watching YouTube. I'm sitting there trying to enjoy my, my dump, and this guy's watching YouTube. I hear him dropping a deuce, and then he's wiping his ass while he's watching YouTube. It was, I don't know how anybody thinks that's sanitary. It's disgusting. I would never do that. I don't do that. I do not bring my phone to the toilet stall. So I do not.
Even at home?
Never. I never do it. I actually have the music on. I have a boombox in my room. If I'm going to take a dump, I'm going to put that on. I'm going to put the music on, 80s, 90s, and I'll just enjoy. I have a newspaper. I'm looking at a magazine. That's what I do. Because I throw the magazine out after the week. I don't ever keep that magazine in my bathroom. So I'd rather do that.
Don't bring Owen into this conversation because I feel like every time like he leaves when we're hanging out, he falls in because he's in there forever. I'm like, dude, did your feet fall asleep? Like, and I'm a squatty potty guy. Like,
squatty potty.
Yeah, because that's the way you're supposed to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And the bathroom stereotypes have been exposed.
Squatty potty. I've never heard that before. Maybe we
It
should
was
shirt.
It's one of the biggest selling things on Shark Tank.
Oh,
yeah, I definitely have to start watching Shark Tank. Everybody keeps telling me about this show. I've watched maybe 2 episodes, and I really never get into it. But hey, I mean, if there's a shark, Speedy, there's a tank, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and I'd be dead.
At 9 o'clock, we'll be talking to USA Today's sports writer, Scooby Axson. He'll be joining for the first time. I actually met Scooby at the Heisman Trophy dinner. Fantastic personality. He's a great writer, so we're very happy and very excited to get him on the show for the first time of Job in the Mouth. But we got a lot to get into, a lot of content. Adam Schefter reports that the Patriots fired Jerod Mayo immediately after Week 18's win against the Bills. Mike Girardi of the Boston Sports Journal reports that he spoke to at least 10 NFL executives that say Mike Vrabel to the Patriots is practically a done deal. The Jets and the Bears have also interviewed Vrabel, and the Patriots will also interview Ben Johnson this week. The Jets have also interviewed Ron Rivera and have interviewed schedules for Rex Ryan, Aaron Glenn, Brian Flores, and Josh McCown. Please, no Josh McCown. Adam Schefter reports that the Bears have interest in Mike McCarthy if the Cowboys part ways with him. Ian Rappaport reports that the Jaguars fired Doug Peterson, but will keep GM Trent Baalke. What are the idiots? The Giants, Dolphins, Colts, and Browns will keep their coach and general manager combos for at least one more year. I'm not surprised that Jerod Mayo was hitting the deck. And boy, did he hit the deck, because I did not believe Robert Kraft was going to keep him after this season. I thought it was just absolutely a debacle of a season, and it had nothing to do. I don't blame Gerard Mayo for this just debacle of a season. They have no wide receivers, none whatsoever. They have a great running back. They always have a good running game. Their offensive line is up and down. They can't stay healthy. And their defense, as good as it's been over the years, they have been up and down over the last 2 seasons. They cannot be pure all season long. They'll play good for 3 games and then they'll fall apart for 4. This has been a big problem. I will not blame Gerard Mayo. He was left the deck that really was to go to this team and take over for this team to fail. There was no question he was out there to fail. Now, Robert Kraft comes out and says that he wanted to give Gerard Mayo an opportunity. And Gerard Mayo, even though the season didn't go the way he wanted it to go, he thanked Gerard Mayo. He went out there and he went on a limb saying that Gerard Mayo is going to be a good coach in this league. He's just not a good coach for my team moving forward. Well, your team has been a team that has failed since Tom Brady has left. This team has not been good. They've drafted quarterbacks over the last couple of seasons. One of them is now playing for the Jaguars as their backup quarterback and started for the last 4 games. This is a team that's really rebuilding since Tom Brady and the Patriots parted ways. And you look at, obviously, and everybody looks at Monday after the season because they say this is gut-wrenching time. This is Black Monday. And I don't know why it's so black, because you knew most of these teams that were going and looking for coaches are very, very black. One of them.
Can you say that? Is that okay? Can
Black?
you say Black Monday?
They're black. I mean, seriously,
It's like the Raiders who did nothing.
It's dark as hell, man. It's nighttime for the Bears, the Jets, and obviously the Jaguars, and maybe even the Cowboys. All these teams have had problems keeping up when it comes to a GM or a coach. It's been a big, huge problem for all these organizations. And going to the New York Jets and the Vrabel thing, I thought Vrabel was the best hope for the New York Jets. Now, where do you go? You go to Rex Ryan. You want to bring Rex Ryan back as your head coach? That's not a smart move. Aaron Glenn was a great Jet, and I love what he's done with the Lions. A Lions defense that's been fighting injury after injury all season long. But Aaron Glenn is a new coach. This has been a problem for the New York Jets for a very long time. You bring in these rookie coaches that never had coaching jobs. They've been an offensive coordinator or a defensive coordinator for other teams over the years, and then they fail. They're there for 3 or 4 years, and they're out and about being a defensive coordinator or offensive coordinator for the rest of their careers. The guy that I look at right now is Brian Flores. If I was the New York Jets right now, out of all these coaches, these former coaches, former players that played in the NFL or former coaches that decided to part ways and become ESPN analysts, I do believe that Brian Flores fits the mold for the New York Jets. This is a guy that's been in the AFC East. He's won in the AFC East, and he understands how to win in the AFC East. I just don't like Josh McCown. When you hear Josh McCown, that scares me, because I understand that Josh McCown could be a very, very good coach in the future. I love what he's done with Sam Darnold. I love what he's done in Minnesota. I love what he does with helping developing these quarterbacks everywhere he's gone. It doesn't fit in the NFL as far as I'm concerned as a head coach. And the New York Jets, it's a must-win time now for the New York Jets. Is Rex Ryan the guy to go with? Being that you need a must-win season? No. Rex Ryan hasn't coached in over 5 years. You're bringing in a guy that he's a great defensive mind, arguably one of the greatest defensive players, coaches we've ever seen over the last 20 years. But the problem is he hasn't been a coach in such a long time. He's been sitting with ESPN and the NFL, and I don't like this variety of coaches for the New York Jets. As far as the Bears are concerned, Mike McCarthy would be a great fit. And I'll tell you why he'd be a great fit. Because I think he can help the development of Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams had, as much as everybody looks at Caleb Williams thinking that he's a bust, if you look at his numbers with Jaden Daniels, they're almost identical. Jaden Daniels obviously had a better season because he's playing for a better team and a better coach. To me, Caleb Williams was going to hit the wall no matter what. He had to deal with Matt Eberflus for 1 year. Matt Eberflus, who has failed as a head coach. He's a good defensive coordinator. I don't know why they brought him back last year, especially drafting the number 1 pick. He didn't work out with Justin Fields. I think it made more sense to bring in a Mike Vrabel last offseason and build with Mike Vrabel and a new quarterback. Caleb Williams is now, in a position that if he goes into a season next year and the season starts off very, very slow, as we've seen other quarterbacks like a Trevor Lawrence, we can see Caleb Williams in and out as an NFL starting quarterback very, very quickly. Now, I think Caleb Williams had a sensational year, even with Matt Eberflus. But you need to bring in a veteran guy that's going to help his development. And even if Ben Johnson becomes available and the Bears look to bring in a rookie coach like that, as good as Ben Johnson has been as an offensive coordinator, I would question bringing Ben Johnson in as a rookie coach and help a rookie quarterback develop. Now, everybody says, well, look what he's done with Jared Goff. Jared Goff was a veteran. He's been in the NFL. When he went to the Lions, he was in the NFL for almost 6 years. You're taking a chance on bringing in a rookie coach and an offensive-minded, great offensive-minded guy that we've seen over the last couple of years, and take a chance and deliver something that could absolutely fail in Chicago. And it's a must-win time for the Chicago Bears.
But they said Ben Johnson wasn't a great interviewer. So does that make sense to bring in a guy like
coach, though, because again, the X's and O's are going to matter a lot more. And for a team like the Bears, they have to take that kind of chance. I'm sure there's a lot of good interviewers that they hired that they took better coaches that weren't as good instead of
Eric Bieniemy wasn't a good interviewer, right. and he hasn't had a job, and he hasn't gotten a job in the NFL.
And he already got fired from UCLA too,
which I don't agree with.
Another one that's wrongly treated, like Brian Flores was. Brian Flores is a culture change.
And if I were the Jets and I bring in Brian Flores, I would absolutely bring in Eric Bieniemy as my offensive coordinator. 100%. If Brian Flores gets the job, and I think I know everybody, all the Jet fans want Aaron Glenn. And I love Aaron Glenn. He was a great corner in the NFL. He was a great Jet. For the 5 years that Aaron Glenn was 100% healthy, he was one of the top 5 corners in all of football. But Aaron Glenn is a rookie coach, and the Jets need to bring in a guy that has experience. They cannot go into another season. And I would say the same thing with the Chicago Bears. I don't think I would bring in a rookie coach. I think you bring in a veteran guy, and if there's a veteran guy out there that's interested in coming back, or a veteran guy out there that you really, really like, that you think that could coach a guy like a Caleb Williams, a personality like that, then that's where I would go. I would not bring in a rookie coach. I think it's a big mistake for both the Jets and the Bears if they go that route.
Yeah, Mike McCarthy I actually like for the Bears too, because I think when you look at the way they elevated Dak Prescott was a guy that was probably thought of as a fringe top 10, but like mostly thought of as a 10 to 15 range more type quarterback. And he elevated them with not a lot of talent, like we talk about all the time, around him into the top 5 quarterback MVP candidate that he's been in certain years. And Caleb Williams, we know, has that level of an upside to make that kind of thing work. Now, they're going to have to replace Keenan Allen. They're going to have to replace some of their offensive linemen that they're going to lose in the offseason, but they still have a lot of talent to make work, and they still have a lot of talent on the defensive side of the ball. The Bears need a culture stabilizer to make this talent work, as do the Jets. Now, again, the Jets, they need something where they have to make Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams, if they keep them happy. We'll have to see if any of the coaches are going to go on board with that. Is Brian Flores the guy to go on board with that? I don't know. We'll see. But you're right. They need somebody that's not a rookie head coach anymore. They've tried this thing for way too long. I think the rookie head coaches are more likely for these younger teams. Jacksonville maybe is more likely with Trent Baalke running the ship again. They need a guy that can rebirth Trevor Lawrence.
I think Ben Johnson would fit over there with the Jaguars.
Perfect.
I think he'd be perfect over there.
They need somebody that can get Trevor Lawrence, who's this generational talent, to play like even close to that. Like, he's not a top 10 quarterback right now, and he was supposed to be drafted as one.
And he's making $55 million. He's the second highest paid quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
Oh, don't get me started on that. Owen's probably just cringing right now because we had this conversation, and I actually tweeted it too.
About $60 million? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and no, but I think Ben Johnson would be great with, like, just age-wise, energy, understanding of what it is. I think that's a great fit. And Speed, I think you're right. Like with some of those teams, I think if you have to understand, like, it's getting younger, it's not getting older, right? and you get some of these
Jacksonville's
older guys.
They've always settled for either they go for the veteran coach that has the experience at the wrong time, or they'll go after this most random thing ever. They're very unconventional. They have to try something that's a little different, and that's why, again, Trent Baalke coming back makes absolutely no sense. Like, I don't know what the love fest this Shad Khan has for Trent Baalke. He hasn't been a good GM for a while. Okay, you have a couple draft picks that fell into your lap, fine, but anyone could have drafted Jalen Ramsey, and anyone could have drafted Miles Jack.
I've heard
Josh
Khan
Allen.
is a very faithful guy to a lot of his coaches and his GMs and executives. I've heard.
Yep.
I was actually on a train a couple of weeks ago, and I was sitting down next to somebody that actually worked for Khan and actually said that Khan is a very dedicated person to all his executives. He really pushes his executives and makes his and all the business that he's owned over the years, he's always kept those executives in position, and that's why his businesses have grown. So I think that's why Baalke still has a job.
Well, you also look at it though too, like we were talking about with Prince Amukamara last week. Like they ended up driving Tom Coughlin out of there when the 2016 Jaguars were peaking.
I think that Khan was pushed with Tom Coughlin. I don't think Khan wanted Tom Coughlin there, and Tom Coughlin's a drill sergeant.
Oh, I know.
And I don't think it worked over there. As much as I like Tom, and Tom was really, really nice to us when we went to his event, I don't think that I don't think Baalke wanted him there, and I really don't think Khan wanted him there. It was just really to get the fans really excited about bringing Tom Coughlin back to the organization.
Sure, but again, at what point do you realize to look at Baalke and say, all right, where's your talent development? They've given out a lot of bad contracts. Again, you have all these picks that fell into your lap. Anyone would have drafted Trevor Lawrence #1 overall in that draft. It's not like, oh, you should get a lot of credit as a GM.
Screw Trevor Lawrence. Look at Travis Etienne. Look at what he's done. I drafted him the last 2 years on my fantasy draft. This guy's a complete bust. If I were the Jacksonville Jaguars, I would move on from Travis Etienne, and if you can get rid of Trevor Lawrence's contract, I'd move on from that too. There are quite a few other teams out there right now looking for a young quarterback that they can develop. I think the Jacksonville Jaguars should move on, but they gave him the $55 million. Now you're stuck with him.
Yeah, Etienne, I think, is as good as gone. He was one of the least efficient runners among any starting running back last year.
Other than his rookie year, what has he done?
Yeah, he had that big first half last year and then fell off in the second half once he got hurt. And that was a big reason Jacksonville fell apart. And once Lawrence had the ankle injury, that all spiraled out of control. They were 8-3 last year and finished 9-8. They did the reverse of what they did the year before when they made the playoffs. So, yeah, they have to find something that's going to work. Going back to the Patriots with Jerome Mayo, you've called it for a while. Like, I think a lot of bad relationships are costing him. And we talked about the Matt Judon saga, like him not getting along with him in practice, Drake May not getting along with him in the beginning of the season. That's why they refused to start him at the beginning of the year and played pretty well besides that. So I think that really doomed him in. But you're right. I think Robert Kraft has his own method anyway. Maybe Vrabel was the guy from the start.
It was absolutely from the start.
Well, they had a chance to get him last year, though, too.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And even Robert Kraft came out and said, he's like, I gave him a team that was unattainable. That's his quote. And so it's like, okay, if you're gonna do that anyways, and you gave him this, like, why wouldn't you give it to Vrabel in the first place? Like, because then he would have had a longer leash. Let's be honest about it. He would like, yeah, the team wasn't where they needed to be, but he would have had a different, longer leash to be able to get it to where they want to get it. So why didn't you do it last year? That doesn't make sense to me. If you're going to get rid of him after a year, well, why didn't you do it last year to build what you want to do? Like, that doesn't make sense to me.
The Patriots were never going to win probably more than 7 games unless Drake May had the rookie year that like Jaden Daniels had, like, and that kind of like effect happened. But like Errol's like, they have no receivers, they have no offensive line. Like, he was doomed from the start.
So, there was no way he was going to win with the team that they had in front of him. And the defense, as soon as they decided to trade Matthew Judon, I understand he didn't have a good relationship with Matthew Judon, but nevertheless, if you were going to trade your best defensive player, you were doomed to go into the season. And the defense actually played pretty well with all the losses that they had throughout the season. Gonzalez came back. He looks like he's a pure number 1. But what do? The Patriots have what? The 4th pick now going into the offseason? Where do they go? I think they go wide receiver. They need weapons for Drake May. Yeah. If they don't go after a wide receiver, they look like a really stupid organization.
They went the entire 2023 draft, not drafting an offensive player. That has to say a lot as it is, with a team with a terrible line and a terrible wide receiving group. And like you said, they no pass rush either because they lost Judon. They lost Christian Barmore, missed the entire year with blood clots all year. They had some decent linebackers.
He might never come back.
He might never come back. I think, decent corners, decent linebackers that are fine. But again, how much you going to do without a pass rush? And then the offense, forget about it. Yeah, you can have a good running game and tight end group all you want. It's not going to get anywhere in today's game.
Yeah, and those blood clots are, tough. And I'm getting early with the Nebraska reference right now, but Tommy Frazier, one of the best college quarterbacks, but he had blood clots, and obviously his career didn't turn out. But do you think it's like a big, like a middle finger to Belichick's predecessor when Mayo comes in that?
I don't think so. I don't think Belichick and Judon. I'm sorry, not Matthew Judon. Gerard Mayo actually got along, and I think Bill Belichick thought it was a slap in the face when they gave the team to a guy like Gerard Mayo. I don't think he thought that Gerard Mayo was the right fit when they decided to part ways with him. But I think Robert Kraft offered him that opportunity, and I really believe that Gerard Mayo believed that he would have at least 3 years to get this team moving in the right direction, and it just fell apart right in front of his eyes. He just doesn't get along with some of the players on that roster.
And again, at what point do you look at the Patriots trying to stick in their ways too much? And we've talked about that with the Giants in the past. The Giants finally deviated away from guys with Giants ties in the past with getting Shane and Dable, which that hasn't worked so far, but they're at least trying to do something different. I'm fine with that kind of thing. The Patriots might have to try that kind of thing as well. I mean, not to say Vrabel isn't a good coach. I think
that's a big mistake what the Giants are doing with Vrabel. I'm sorry, with Dable and obviously Joe Shane. I don't think it's a smart move by the Giants. I think the Giants should have part ways with the GM and their coach and move forward with, if you're drafting a quarterback at number 3, which there's a good chance. And I'm going to tell you this, Giant fans, I promise you, they're drafting a quarterback. One way or another, they're either going to move, if one of those top teams, 1 and 2, are going to draft a quarterback, or assuming they're going to draft a quarterback, the Giants are going to do everything they can to draft a jump up at number 2 or number 1 to get the guy that they want. Yeah. So I do believe Joe.
You think they're gonna trade up?
100%. If Cam Ward and Shador are one of the guys that they really, really want, and right now Joe Shane is on the hot seat, so he needs a quarterback and he needs to pick the right one. So, and we're hearing that he really loves Cam Ward. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants jump from 3 to 1 to get the guy that he wants, because if he really, really likes him, he's going to rest his career on that quarterback he drafts, because Daniel Jones wasn't his guy. Obviously, it was Gettleman's. So he's going to ride or die with the quarterback he drafts. And Giant fans, as much as I want to believe that he's going to wait for, Archie in next year's draft, that's not going to happen. He will be the number 1 pick next year. There's no, I know that's what Fish is doing. He's praying to God, but Archie will be the number 1 pick next year, but it won't be for the New York Giants, because the Giants this is a make or break year for Joe Shane in the draft, and he needs to draft a quarterback.
2 teams that are going to be looked at models, I think, for these teams that are so far back to be able to rebuild quickly are Houston, what they did last year, and then this year, what Washington did. I think that kind of thing only works if you have 3 guys that are on the same page, a coach, a GM, and a quarterback all on the same page. And that's why I don't know if Shane and Dable, with a new quarterback trying to do it blindly to save their jobs, was necessarily the right move. And same kind of thing with a lot of these coaches that have been either hired or fired wrongly, like we were talking about with the Patriots and with the Bears, and definitely with the Jaguars, because Trent Baalke has no idea what he's doing.
Yeah, I agree with you. If those 3 aren't on the same page, it doesn't make sense, and it's not going to work. It'll be interesting, and if you have 2 of the 3, I get it, but to be successful, and I don't know, trading up is, and I get he's on the hot seat, but also at the same, he didn't get what he wanted last time, right? So is he going to make that move, and is that a move that you think is going to put him over the top?
I think he wanted Neighbors. I really do. It was either Neighbors or Jaden Daniels. That's what I've heard what Joe Shane was gunning for. So I think he got one. He was going to get one or the other, and he did. He got Neighbors, who looks like he's going to be a great player for the future for the New York Giants, but they need a thrower. They need a guy that can get him the ball. And if you're going into this offseason and you're drafting at 3, and all you have to probably give up to draft from 3 to 1 is another first-round draft pick, because that's all you have to give up. I think it's a first and maybe a third to jump up over there. I think the Giants do that because if Cam Ward is the guy that they really, really want, and by the way, I met Cam. Cam is a nice guy. I think he's not a party guy like Shador. He's not a wine and dine guy. I think he's perfect for the New York Giants. I think he's the perfect fit, and especially what he did for a Miami Hurricane team this year that was, up and down all season long. But he was fantastic. He threw the ball very well. He had one of the best arms in all of the nation. So
what's crazy too is there's reports now coming out. There's a lot of guys in the draft that are saying Shadur's not even a first round draft pick guy.
He's not. I told you guys he's not.
For a while, yeah.
I said he's not. I don't believe he is. I think anybody that thinks that Shador is a first round draft pick is an idiot. But guess what?
Do you think it's going to get more prevalent though now that if we're getting closer to the draft?
No,
it's going to come out more.
He's going in the first round. He's going in the top 10. Somebody's going to take a chance with him, and I think they're going to make a mistake. So I don't want to deal with obviously Mr. Prime on the sidelines during the preseason and practices, hearing his crap, telling me what to do if I'm the head coach of the team. I don't like it. I think it's a bad move for any of these organizations. And you don't want an organization like Tennessee, a team that had one of the better defenses in all of the league this year, and looks like they have a good young coach moving forward, and if you pick the right guy, everybody is looking at Cam Ward. Cam Ward is the best quarterback in this class. So right now, who's sitting at 1? The Titans.
Titans.
You would have to give the Titans something that they cannot refuse for them to move out of that pick. And
how much do you think Dion is going to play? Like, obviously, he said this.
Huge.
Do you think like it's going to come into play? I'm not saying in the draft side because he's already said that.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to actually like in-game play, like, do you think he's going to be embedded in it as much as he's already said?
Mm-hmm.
A lot more
because
than
he's. Well, no, I agree. Like I could give two shits about what Carter does at the baseball field, but I feel like I just don't know how far he goes and gets embedded in like the gameplay. Like I get the draft and want to put him in the best situation. Get that as a father, 100%. But like after that, like you should be done. Like let the chips fall where they may.
And any coach has to realize that too, because there's all these coaches either on the hot seat or they're going to be new coaches.
He will be there at Radio Row. I know Dion will be there and Shador will be there. I know they're going to be repping and promoting all the different products that they have. I know Dion has been on a lot of commercials. He's promoting a lot of different products that he's putting out there. So I expect both of those guys to be there, and they're going to be doing a lot of interviews. So I wouldn't be surprised if Shador Sanders shows up with his Maybach or whatever he's driving, his $400,000 truck, which his father bought for him. After the Dolphins' 32-20 loss against the Jets, Tyreek Hill told reporters, "I'm out," and wants to do what's best for him and his family. The Miami Herald, Omar Khan, reports that Tyreek Hill told Mike McDaniel he refused to play in the fourth quarter against the Jets. Khan added that Hill told him he is too much of a competitor to be on the field with the Dolphins. Mike McDaniel said Hill did not have any new injuries that came during the game. Hill even changed his Twitter profile picture to Antonio Brown when he stormed off the field versus the Jets in 2021. Stephen A. Smith said that Tyreek Hill should stop complaining about a change of scenery because he decided to make things complicated with the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. Hill had 81 catches for 959 yards and 6 touchdowns this season. This was a bad year for Tyreek Hill, especially what he did last year. I think he had over 1,700 yards. He was unbelievable last year. Some people thought he was Offensive Player of the Year. But what Christian McCaffrey did was absolutely incredible. But Tyreek Hill is a cancer. He has been a cancer on and off the field. We all know what happened in the beginning of the season before the season even started with the cop situation. Now, that was his fault, but he took it to a whole nother level. He made it worse than it was, and it really affected the Dolphins and their first game of the season. And he had other players with him that was dealing with the same thing. Tyreek Hill always has a problem with something. If it's not the quarterback, it's the damn wide receiver. If it's not the damn wide receiver, it's the running back. If it's not the running back, it's the offensive line. It's been a huge problem over the last couple of years over here in Miami, and he even had problems in Kansas City. He thought that he was the best player on the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Kansas City Chiefs, and obviously Andy Reid said, "What are you on, drugs? We got Patrick Mahomes." And that's why they parted ways. And that's why they traded him for a couple, what was it?
5 picks.
5 picks. I mean, and none of them were first-round draft picks, I don't think.
No, one of them was.
Was it a first-round?
Yeah, there was one.
I didn't even know it was a first-round draft pick.
Became Trent McDuffie.
Well, I rest my case. But you look at the situation that the Dolphins are in. They paid him a lot of money. He is still owed at least 2 more years of $30-something million. I think 31. Yep. If you decide to part ways with him, you got to pay that cap. And that cap hit is a significant cap hit. I think it's $20-something million on the cap. Now, if they trade him, what are they going to get back from a guy that just, first of all, is over 30 now? He doesn't shut up. He puts himself in harm's way in front of the media. He's all over social media. He's on, he's got his own podcast. He's got his own YouTube channel. This is a guy that's a cancer. The only way this works is if he gets traded back to Kansas City. That's the only way this is going to work. But what is Kansas City going to give up for him? Now, Miami's going to want something significant back for him, and I don't know what Kansas City's going to be willing to trade for him with. Now, Andy Reid is a very clever guy. He's clever, and if he thinks that if somehow Kansas City doesn't make it to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl this year, and this could be Travis Kelce's last year, they're going to need another weapon. They're going to need to go out there and bring in a guy that's going to help Patrick Mahomes next season if Kelce decides to part ways. There's a lot of rumors saying that he wants to get married. He wants to move forward in his career in the podcasting world. This could be his final year. The only reason why he came back and he signed that 2-year deal is because they were going to 3-peat. Nevertheless, they're going to be looking at another weapon in the offseason for Patrick Mahomes. I don't think there's any other moves besides him going back to Kansas City next season. Now, everybody's going to say, well, Tyreek Hill, he can make a team better. It doesn't make sense. If you look at some of these young quarterbacks, and right now, a lot of these teams, Justin Herbert's going to be looking for a number 1 guy. Do you see Jim Harbaugh bringing in Tyreek Hill to help Justin Herbert? I don't see Jim Harbaugh doing that. If you look at some of these other teams, Caleb Williams, if they decide to, Keenan Allen decides to retire, he's still under another 2 years of his contract. If Keenan Allen gets traded or they have a chance to get a guy like Tyreek Hill, do they bring in a new coach like a Ben Johnson and have to coach Tyreek Hill after Mike McDaniel, who's a very likable head coach, can't deal with him and can't deal with him in a locker room? I wouldn't want to deal with that either. So where does he go? There are no other teams except the stupid teams. The Browns, the Jets. I mean, those stupid teams that'll be willing to make a move. That's not true. He says he doesn't want to play for the Jets. If the Jets are willing to give him his $31 million and he gets to play with Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers is there, why wouldn't he want to play for the Jets? He gets the ball. He's going to see the ball. So it just seems more like a stupid team to go after somebody like this. He is a cancer. It's the fact that he quit on his team, that's Antonio Brown-like. You do not want somebody that's not going to go out there and give 110% because his team fell apart this year because their quarterback can't stay healthy and the team is just not as good as everybody thought they were going to be.
No, and that's when you look at the price of having to pay Tua, Jalen Waddle, and Hill all at once. You're paying almost half your salary cap just in the passing game alone. And now you finally have a football reason to trade Hill because he didn't have a great year last year. And the Dolphins offense, once Tua came back, actually still played very well, with Achane playing very well, with Jonnu Smith playing very well. The offensive line is a mess. They still need a lot of work. And that's something that Chris Greer, he somehow kept his job, has to figure out because he's horrible at drafting offensive linemen. And their defense actually got better in the second half. They were a top 10 defense in a lot of categories in the second half. And Anthony Weaver, I think, actually got a few head coaching interviews. He's not going to get a head coaching job probably.
Not this year.
No, but they actually had a very good defense in the second half of the season. So it gives you a reason.
So did the Jets. They were the 3rd best defense in all of football. And where are they?
Oh, yeah.
5 wins. Great.
Yeah.
For all you Jet
Yeah,
fans. We have the third best defense in the NFL. That really helped us.
Yeah, but even so, like the Dolphins were in the playoff race because of that kind of thing, even amidst Tyreek Hill being a decoy. It was a lot like the Bills with Stephon Diggs last year. Stephon Diggs in the second half of the season was mainly a decoy when Joe Brady took over as the offensive coordinator, and now the Bills' offense is clicking without him. Joe Brady's probably going to get a head coaching job, and Stephon Diggs is...
That's another team the Jets are looking at, too.
As they should. And Stephon Diggs is still trying to deal with all these series of injuries that he's had, and we'll see if he ever comes back the same. And Tyreek Hill, while he hasn't had the same level of injury issues that Diggs has had, he still has had a few of them that's definitely held him back this year. And how much of a distraction is any team going to want to take that kind of thing on at the price that he's going to want, and the price he already is getting paid is going to be another question. Now, they'll still get better value than what the Texans got or the Bills got for Diggs, but I still don't think it's going to be a first round pick. It's definitely not going to be anything that they want.
No, I mean, especially with like, I guess you want to call it baggage, but at the same time, like when you quit on a team, and he said, I want to be on a winner. And then he kind of basically just quit when they were out of playoff contention, right? Like, if it's really one of those things where you have that mentality already and you're going to bring it. And Errol, you made a great point. It's like, he's dealt with him before. Andy Reid knows how to deal with him. I think Kelsey's done either way because they're making way too much money off the field, and he can go down and be one of the greatest tight ends to ever play, whether they win or not. That's to be seen. I don't think they will, but he's going to go down as one of the best, and now he has so much going for him and on, off the field in everything that, him and his brother have created and all the other stuff. And now even his sister-in-law is now the #1 podcaster in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like there's a lot of things that go into it. I think you're 100% right. Like that's the only fit for him, and to take that on because it's a headache, and it's something when you lose a locker room, you lose the team, and he's shown that not only individualistically. Because it's like, if we're not in contention, like, what the hell do I need to play? I'm still going to get my $30 million. But who's going to take that over and who's going to deal with that is the question.
Yeah, I don't think the Chiefs are going to be the team to do it. Patrick Mahomes is not going to take on a $30 million contract. He's going to want linemen. He's going to be like, hey, did you see me this year? I got sacked numerous times under pressure. My ankle's already a problem. He's not going to be like, hey, give me Tyreek Hill. He's going to give me a left tackle that can protect my blind side. So I think that's the route he goes there. I wouldn't be surprised to go see him be at a culture guy like a Harbaugh. He's got a culture built there. He won't deal with the shenanigans that Tyreek Hill is going to put out there. He'll just pull him out of the game and be like, all right, well, we tried. But I think one of those teams, either the Washington Commanders, I could see with Jaden Daniels, get him a playmaker, or Harbaugh with the Chargers.
So I have we don't know what they're going to do at quarterback next year. This team I'm thinking of for Tyreek. I know it's not going to be the Giants or Jets because, as you said, Job, he took himself out in the fourth quarter as soon as he found out they were out of contention. So he's not going to anyone that wasn't a contender this year. But there is a team that's a contender. Well, I would say not really a contender this year because they have one good receiver and he's been hurt a lot. That's George Pickens, and I'm talking about the Steelers. The Steelers could really use a guy that could take the top off the defense and move it laterally.
But they got to pay Pickens. They got to pay Pickens in the offseason. I don't think they're going to be able to take on a contract like that and pay Pickens. I don't think that's a good move for them.
Well, that aside, they can finagle that first year and figure out the cap and kick the can. You saw the Saints do it forever. And arguably the Saints probably, before everyone got hurt, was their playoff team this year. But everyone got hurt on that team. But the reason I say the Steelers isn't just like the X's and O's part of it. I'm really fascinated in guys like this who think about Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown, I mean, it's kind of a weird example because he left Pittsburgh, but he had to go to Tom Brady to, eventually in Tampa as a presence with a real, an old-time coach who's cool as crap. Everyone says it. And, it's a good situation. Tomlin is the best coach in the league for the last decade plus. he's been around for a long time. He hasn't won all the championships. You could say there are others that won more.
Never
Obviously,
never a losing season though.
But that's my point, right? And he has that culture there. And that's the type of thing Tyreek Hill, I would argue, wants right now. Now, he probably wants a lot of things and wants to have everything that his way, but he's just forcing his way out. And I got to tell you, you got to put up the numbers if you want to have your way. And he did not put up the numbers. Those were middling numbers for Tyreek Hill for this season.
That's why I was saying there's football reasons to trade him now, like it was with Diggs. Like, I think the Dolphins can still have a capable enough offense and then be able to build up their offensive line. Like Owen was saying for the Chiefs, like the Dolphins should be using that money to get like multiple offensive linemen. They have not done that at all outside of the 31-year-old, 32
Draft. That's the way to go.
Yeah.
Draft. Do not bring in free agents. Ask the Jets. They make those mistakes every single year. They bring in these so-called former great Super Bowl championship type of offensive linemen, and they fall apart right in front of our eyes. And we all know all about that.
That's why I don't think,
including the Jets.
That's why I don't think Chris Greer getting his job back was the right move for them either. Now, we were talking about before, like certain teams want to obviously keep the GM and coach new all at once, but actually one of them that probably shouldn't, because Mike McDaniel I think is a good coach. Chris Greer, who was there longer before McDaniel, has been kind of up and down. He's had some good trades as a seller a lot of the time with Tunsil, with the 49ers trade where they got all those picks from them, but they also have not drafted very well on the offensive line either.
Speaking of winning ways, the Lions receiver, St. Brown, said on his podcast that the NFL should change their playoff format to reward teams with the best records. He mentioned how it would be ridiculous for either of them or the Vikings to go on the road with 14 wins, which is the first time in NFL history that has happened. He says all division winners should still make the playoffs, but the teams should be seeded based on the best records with the same tiebreaker scenario. He calls it one of the craziest rules ever and mentioned the amount of 9-win teams that have hosted a playoff game since he's entered the NFL. The Vikings won 4 more games than the Rams, tied for the biggest difference in wins between road teams and home teams in NFL history. The Lions blew out the Vikings 31-9 and clinched the number 1 seed in the NFC for the first time in franchise history. Let me tell you something. I've been saying this forever. I don't understand it. How does a 9-win division champion get the home field advantage? Have the wild card home game? That doesn't make any sense. How does the Vikings, who win 14 games and they're one of the top 3 teams in all of the NFL, have to play away in their first wild card game? It doesn't make any sense. The only way that the Minnesota Vikings were going to get a home game is if they win the division. It doesn't make sense. I think St. Brown makes a lot of sense. I've been saying this forever, and the NFL has been trying to find ways. Well, this is going to work. How that's going to work? We're going to add another wild card team. Hey, why don't we add 16 new teams to this playoff tournament? It makes no sense. And this is something that Roger Goodell should be biting on. This is what the owners should be biting on. This doesn't make sense. How does the Rams have the home field advantage with 9 wins? It doesn't make sense. And honestly, I think the Vikings are way better than the Rams right now. The Rams, who have had a good season, they've been up and down. They've had a lot of injuries. Cooper can't stay healthy. And if Cooper's down, obviously Puka's down. They couldn't stay fully healthy. And Williams, he's up and down. But hey, Williams is still one of the best running backs in the league. Came out of nowhere. The problem right now with the path of the way the playoffs are set up, I think it ruins the thought of what the season really brings. If you don't win your division, you're a wild card team and you're going to be playing away no matter what. You win 15 games. Just think about this. If there are 2 teams in the same division that wins 15 or more games, think about that. 15 or more games. One of those teams are going to play away for the rest of the playoffs. How does that make sense? That doesn't make any sense. And I think St. Brown has a huge thought and a process of way the NFL needs to fix this up before other players and really other owners are going to start to beat on this and beat the drum. This doesn't make any sense. The NFL needs to clean it up.
Yeah, and you look at the extreme differences we've seen with a lot of these division winners and wild card teams just coming from the same division. And again, a lot of scenarios over the years where an 8 or 9 win team has made the playoffs at won a playoff game just because they've gotten the home game. Obviously, the famous one being the Seahawks when they were.
I remember that
team.
Marshawn Lynch. Remember that run that he had against the Saints,
beating the Saints. The Saints were an 11-win team that year, one of the most well-rounded teams in the NFC that year, and the Seahawks took them down. Why? Because they had the 12th man. They got the home field advantage. That would never happen in a normal scenario, and we even saw it in other sports too. Like remember 3 years ago in baseball, we saw this too. The Giants won 107 games, and the Dodgers won 106, but the Dodgers had to play as a wild card in that kind of thing. I think they were like 10 wins better than the other teams. And in the NFL,
I remember that one too.
Yeah, the NFL, again, there's a lot of these divisions that are just very clustered right now the way they are. Now, I'm not saying, like St. Brown saying, I'm not saying that the Bucks or the Rams shouldn't make the playoffs because they didn't win their division. Yeah, they won their division. They deserve to be in the playoffs. But yeah, the seeding should be that way. Make the Vikings the 3 seed. The Eagles are the 2 seed. They have the same amount of wins. Make them the 3.
No, I don't think I disagree. Even if you win your division, if you have 9 wins, you win the division. If there's other teams that have a better record than you should make the playoffs. Because the division stinks. The division champion should have to make the playoffs. That I disagree. I think the NFL needs to clean that up. The better records, whoever has the better record makes the playoffs. That's the way it should go. You're playing whatever's on your schedule. If you have more wins, you've earned the right to make the playoffs.
Yeah, and again, you also look at the scenarios of these 10-win teams getting there and making these runs as well. Now, it doesn't happen a lot in the NFL, but you also see these other ones that still happen randomly where it's still like the Bucks. The Bucks were an 11-5 team. We knew they were better than the 5 seed when they won the Super Bowl. The Rams, when they won the Super Bowl, they were the 4 seed, and we knew they were better than that kind of thing as well. But the NFC West was so good that it didn't really show that kind of thing. So very interesting scenario year to year how that works. It just happens in football a lot more often because there's less games.
Well, if you think about it too, like we've kind of touched on this too, like with the college the playoff bracket, like should you get rewarded just for being in a terrible conference and winning that and getting the bye, or as we've seen, the bye obviously didn't help. So I get where he's coming from. I think you hit the nail on the head when you're like, just because you win your division in a terrible division, like, why are you rewarded for that when there's better teams out there? And then to that point too, it's like, okay, is there an advantage to me winning the division, or am I going to get a better draw when we've seen better 4 or 5 seeds win the Super Bowl without winning the division technically? So I don't think you reward it just because you win the division with 9 wins. That doesn't make sense to me. You got to reward the best record and the best product that you've put out there, and just because it's in that division, I don't necessarily think that they should get the home field advantage over another team that has 14 wins.
I agree, but you have to let the division winners still in the playoffs. You can't just kick them out of the playoffs because they didn't have as great a season. You don't know about injuries or whatever. Like the Rams have been pretty good, and now they're healthy. Like they're a scary team, like to play. And I know Minnesota got the rod into the stick, but it's like they deserve to be there because they won their division. Unfortunately, their division sucked this year, but there has to be some incentive for winning the division. So I don't think they should get the home field advantage, but I think they should still be in the playoffs. And then they duke it out. They go to Minnesota this week or whatever have you. But I think if Minnesota has a better record and there's a division winner, they play, and then Minnesota gets home field advantage. But you have to keep the division winners, or just get rid of divisions altogether and just randomize
like
the schedule.
The NBA used to do that, where the NBA, even if the 3 seed won the division and they played against a 6, if the 6 had a higher record, or maybe in the second round they had a better record, they still got the home field.
That's what I was kind of thinking, is just doing it that way. So that way Minnesota doesn't get hosed for having a great season, but the Rams still get a chance because, like I said, they're healthy now. They've been kind of on a hot streak, and they're a scary team. Like I don't think Minnesota's looking forward to go play Matt Stafford and all those guys.
Mm-hmm. They already beat him this year.
Yeah, exactly.
Getting their guys back.
Exactly. So I don't think they're looking forward to it.
Well, I wouldn't be afraid of the massive fans impact in LA against the Vikings in this round personally, but I do agree with you, Owen. I don't really understand why the team that wins 4 more games, are in certain cases, or 3 more games, has to be on the road because of divisions. It doesn't make any sense. If it was, AFC to NFC, it could be a little bit different from year to year, but no, it just doesn't make sense. You've got to let those guys have the home field. And it's really not as much for the players because, look, the Giants, they run on the road twice the entire time and won 2 Super Bowls, the last 2 Super Bowls they won. So it's not like you can't do it. As a player, I don't think it's as important. As an owner, I'd be pretty pissed. As an owner, I'd be pretty upset that I don't get that revenue, even though I spent all this money to make sure that my team was great. And all of a sudden some 9-8, nonsense team gets a home game over my guys and I lose out on millions of dollars. I would be pretty upset about that. So I think they may take a look at it for that reason, but look, as a player, you go and play. Sometimes you like it better on the road anyway. I don't know, Jabba, what do you think? Did you like it better sometimes if you were out like a road warrior compared to having a home field advantage? Do you think it really mattered?
Yes and no. I mean, there were some places where you just liked playing better. I think when it gets to that point, you're kind of in a mode where it doesn't really matter. And yes, it's nice to win at home at the end, but like during the playoffs, like for us, it's different because, we were in a series. Now it's literally one game, so that's a different dynamic. But once it gets to this point, I don't think it really plays that much of an effect. I think you obviously still need to reward them, but I don't think it plays that much of a in this situation. Obviously, I've never stepped foot in anywhere in that realm in the playoffs in football, so I can't say that. And mine isn't one and done. So that's probably a better question for somebody that plays football, because that it could be completely different. Because us, it's like when we go in a series, it's like, okay, you're going to start at home depending on what it is, and it's based on record and then division, and it's kind of what we're talking about. So the one and done might be a little different than what our series wise and what we've done, but I don't think it really matters when you get to this point.
For the Rams, I mean, being at home, obviously they don't have a great home field advantage, but it does have some big impact. Like if you're going to Seattle or Minnesota for that matter, they have to switch to a silent count. They can't communicate with the receivers as well. They can't call plays as fast. Like it does have an impact on a football field. I don't know as much about baseball, but going to Minnesota where they're clapping skull and they're in your grill and you can't hear makes a big difference. And you see people struggle with that, especially with snap counts and everything else.
I disagree with obviously Fish and Owen. I don't believe if the division team has 9 wins and there is a wild card team or a second place team or even a third place team that has 10 or 11 wins, though I don't care if you win your division, because even if the division stinks or you have injuries, every team has injuries. Every single team fights injuries. If you have the better record and you have and the record states that you have 10 or 11 wins, I don't care if you win the division. It doesn't matter to me. So get rid of the divisions. Don't play with divisions, because it's not fair to the teams that went out there week in and week out and win 11 games and say, hey, guess what? It's happened to the Jets. I remember with Todd Bowles.
Happened twice to the Giants.
Yeah, it happened to the Jets. They were 10-9 at that time. I think they were 10-6.
They missed on a tiebreaker.
And they missed on a tiebreaker. And how's that fair? The Jets should have made the playoffs that year. I thought they were the better team in all the other divisions, all the other wild card teams that made it. But the division team that was in the West, I think it was, or the South.
No, I think it was the Texans. Yeah,
whatever. The South, they had 9 wins. They make the playoffs, and the Jets didn't. That's not fair. And I think the NFL needs to clean that up. That's not fair to a team that, you play what's on your schedule. I have a better record, so hey, you know what? You're not going to make the playoffs because you're not in that division. That doesn't make any sense.
Life's not fair.
Well, exactly. Life's not fair. So stepping back into it, it makes more sense to take the team that's been better all season long than the other team that just because they're in that division, they should be the one making it to the playoffs. I disagree.
We agree on that, Errol. I just don't think you need to blow up the whole division thing and go to like the conference versus conference schedule. But I was bringing it up as I brought up to Jabba, like if there were places that he played that were better than his home park. I want to ask you the same question. When you were playing hockey, you know, was your home ice your favorite place to play, or did you get like jacked up to play other places?
I love to piss people off. Come on, guys. I mean, who
That's
wouldn't
what I'm
want to
saying,
go?
though.
Who wouldn't want to go to Canada and play in front of the Montreal crowd? They hate New Yorkers, they hate Americans, and go over there and shove it down their throats. I loved it. I love walking out and saying I gave them the big FU. I could care less if any of them hated me. So it's much better when people are booing you than cheering for you. That's why I said it's better to be the bad guy, be the heel, than be the good guy. Because to me, when you walk off and Jabba could say this, and any athlete will tell you, it is fantastic when you walk off a field or walk off an ice or walk off a basketball court, knowing that you beat a team on their home field and you sent them home. That must be the best feeling in the world. Hey, guys, guess what? You're home and you can stay home. We're off to the playoff. We're off to the playoffs. We're off to the championship. Screw you. And go play with mommy or something. I don't know. Go play with Speedy.
They don't boo nobodies. That's what they say. They don't boo nobodies.
That's
true. I never had that kind of success where I was getting booed or anything like that. Actually, as a coach, sometimes I got booed, but that's completely different. I just kept thinking of it from the other side. I'm sorry, Errol. I got to bring this up because this is one of the most traumatic sports weeks I had. This is a long time ago now. It was a Knicks sports week because they always said that guys went to Madison Square Garden and had their best games. They love playing at Madison Square Garden. I don't know if that's true about hockey as much as is basketball, but I'm sure it's pretty similar. Anyway, one week, I think LeBron put up like a 60-point or 50-point triple-double or close to it. Kobe put up 60, and then Dwayne Wade put up like 55, all within like 5 or 6 days of each other. And it just makes me think, like, is it really better to have the home field advantage? So, as a player, if the place you're playing is more fun to play at, I'd rather play there. I don't know. That's just me. And I think you guys both kind of agreed with that.
Yes. You know, speaking of agreeing or not or disagreeing, and I know Jabba is going to love this, Cardinals beat writer John Denton reports that the Red Sox are Nolan Arenado's preferred destination. One of 6 teams he would accept to be traded to. Ken Rosenthal reports that the Orioles are still expected to be active in the pitching market after signing Charlie Morton, but don't want to trade top prospects Luis Castillo and Dylan Cease. MLB Network's John Morosi reports that the Blue Jays are the favorites to land All-Star outfielder Anthony Santander. He adds that the Blue Jays will be heavily after Alex Bregman and expects him to sign with either the Blue Jays or the Tigers. The Dodgers signed top Korean infielder Kim, and reports say they remain the favorites to land Japanese pitcher Sasaki. Jeff Passan reports that the Yankees have reached out to the Padres about potential trading for batting champion infielder Luis Rise. So I think what the New York Yankees is, if they can add somebody like Luis to their team, you can shift him to third base. He can play any different. Either you move him to second base or shortstop, and you move Volpe to third base. They could do a lot of things if they get one of the better hitters in all of baseball. I think the interesting thing, and Jabba, you're a baseball guy. You look at the Red Sox and the whole Nolan Arenado thing. The question is, I think now, is he tailing towards the Blue Jays? I mean, not the Blue Jays, the Red Sox, because the Yankees, there are stories coming out that the Yankees have lost interest in Nolan Arenado or were never interested in him. I think that I thought the preferred destination for Nolan Arenado was the Yankees. Paul Goldschmidt goes there. Him and Paul Goldschmidt are very good friends. He's very close off the field with Aaron Judge, I've heard. So I thought that was the destination where Nolan Arenado is. Now Nolan Arenado looks like he could, or the destination is with the Red Sox. I don't know how that makes sense. The fact is, right now, the Charlie Morton signing, the Orioles were reaching. They needed a pitcher. Burns obviously is no longer there. They struck out on Burns, and Charlie Morton is definitely a consolation prize. And Charlie Morton is one of the best playoff pitchers in baseball for the last 5 to 6 years when he's 100% healthy. And as far as I'm concerned with this whole Blue Jays thing, the Blue Jays are reaching. They're trying. They strike out everywhere they go. How about re-signing Vladimir Guerrero and some of your talent over there? You're pissing off Vladimir Guerrero. Now, what's going to happen is Vladimir Guerrero is going to be a free agent next year, and he's going to have his choice and pick where he wants to go, and he's definitely not going to pick the Blue Jays because the Blue Jays have given up on him. This guy is one of the best power hitters in baseball. This is a guy that's going to give you, no matter what, 30 or more home runs and over 100 RBIs. They're very hard to find. These kind of guys are hard to find. You should be absolutely sealing a deal with this guy, making him happy. But instead, you're going after guys that you shouldn't be going after. I don't like it. And by the way, Alex Bregman, he could go to the Blue Jays. He can go to the Tigers. Any one of those destinations where he goes, he's bound to fail because we've seen this many, many times. And by the way, who was the last Astro to go to the Blue Jays?
Springer.
And what has George Springer done ever since he left the Astros?
Gotten hurt a bunch.
He's disappeared.
Thank God the Mets didn't go after him. There were a lot of Mets fans that wanted him at the time. Thank God that didn't happen because he was, for one thing, center field regressing as it was with the injuries, and then his hitting just fell apart too. The Blue Jays have fallen apart really when it comes to they built this team and then they don't know how to sign free agents, and now they're trying to settle to get these outfielders to work or these other hitters to work, and it's failed for them in the past too. Matt Chapman was a bad contract they brought in too. They made the trades with all the catchers, and now they're going to lose out on a lot of these guys. And you're right. If he wants $350-400 million, the Blue Jays, can you trust him to give them that kind of money? I don't know. As far as the Orioles, yeah, they need quantity in pitching. Morton's a good start, but they need quantity of pitching in the worst way.
Morton can't stay healthy.
He can't stay healthy. He's not an ace. He's a good playoff pitcher, like you were saying. One of the best.
He's an ace. He's an ace in the playoffs. That's what you want.
Of course, but they need more of that because they've had trouble keeping their younger pitchers healthy.
He kills the Yankees, too.
He does.
Kills the Yankees.
They've had trouble. Like we were talking about a few weeks ago with the pitching report and all those injuries. The Braves are one team that has trouble keeping their pitchers healthy. The Orioles are the other one, the young guys who stayed healthy. As far as the Yankees, yeah, this should be the trade. A rise is definitely encouraging if they can try to make that kind of thing work. I'm surprised the Padres are putting him on the market, though, considering they're a contending team. You're muted, Jabba.
I literally, I am a Charlie Morton fan. It's great to me. And just going through, and I mean, he's going to be 41. And he's just gotten better later in his career. And yeah, he had some injury troubles and whatever. But if you look at whatever, not injury troubles, the last 4 years, he's made over 30 starts in the last 5 of 6. No, 6 of 7, excuse me. He's made 30 starts a year. He answers the bell. Only 1 year he was hurt. So you say he's injury prone. He makes 30 starts a year. In the last 7 years, there's only been 1 year that he did not make 30 starts. In 2018, 30. 2019, 33. Hurt in 20. 2021, 33. 2022, 31. 2023, 30. 2024, 30. So you can't say he's injury prone. He's not. He makes 30 starts a year. You can't say that about a lot of people in this game that's making 30 starts. Mind you, his numbers aren't as good as some of the others, but he answers the bell and he's going to take the ball every 5 days. And there's something to be said about that, to take that to those young kids, because they've got great arms in their system. I think the Orioles have a great farm stuff. They got some young kids that have shown really, really talented arms. And you bring in a guy like this, and he's one of the most soft-spoken, greatest dudes in this game. Love Charlie Morton. But you can't say he's injury-prone for the last 6 to 7 years, 30 starts a year. Not a lot of people have done that.
Jamie Lee in the comments section, the Mets need more arms. Yes, they do. The Mets need a lot more pitching depth, too, to make that kind of thing work. I'm with you on that. Get Fish.
Yeah, so Morton, look, Morton was always one of those guys I took in fantasy baseball that no one would ever think about. He's one of his afterthoughts, and then he was consistent every year. Big strikeout guy, but he's always been one of these big strikeout, big walk guys, and he doesn't get depth into the games because of that. He's usually a 5-inning guy, and it's not that he doesn't throw 100 pitches. He does. He just wastes them, peppering the corners, and that's what he's that guy, and he's going to strike out a lot of guys. He's going to walk a lot of guys, has a high whip. In a lot of seasons and pretty high the last couple of seasons. And
he's never had a 200 inning season. with 30
Right,
starts.
because of that. It's not like he's not making the pitches.
No, for sure.
He's just that type of pitcher. So you can't look at him as an ace because you need depth from your ace. So I think this is a mistake if they think that that's what he is for them.
1
They
year,
clearly
15
struck out
million.
on
I
guys.
think it's a great deal. I think it's a
Yeah,
great deal.
it's fine, but not as your ace for the year. Yeah, I would imagine. The guy that you were bringing up was Arise, though, and look at what the Yankees were missing when we got to the playoffs. Who was their leadoff hitter? They couldn't figure it out really all season. They tried Volpe. I thought Volpe was being able to do it. He couldn't get his OBP over 300.
They never had the same lineup anyways. We
never do.
We were all guessing, like, who the hell are they going to throw out now? Like, who's going to hit here? Like, is Judge going to hit 2, 3?
Yes.
It'd be nice to just pencil in a Rise at the top of the order, though. It'd be
disagree.
really nice. And he doesn't run a lot. He did get double-digit stolen bases this year for, I think, the first time in a long time. But as you know, the batting average is out of this world with him. He's not a big walk guy, but look, he's going to get there, and he's going to drive guys in, too, because
They're going to have to give up a lot to get him. So,
how old is he? How old is he?
29, but you're going to have to give up at least 2 of your top prospects to get him. I mean, you're talking about you're going to probably have to give up Spencer Jones and somebody else.
27,
yeah. You're going to have to give up a
27.
significant amount for him. The Padres aren't just going to say, here, you can have him. They're not going to do that.
Well, the Marlins did that for when they gave him to the Padres.
That's different. And this is a Padres organization that's trying to get rid of contracts. And I think you look at Mr. Outfielder now, and you know what I'm talking about, who was a shortstop who likes to do his steroids.
Oh, yeah. The one I thought that was going to go to the Yankees 2 years ago. Yes.
I think you go that route if I were the Yankees, because I think he's young. And if you're going to give up young prospects, you take the guy on that. I think in a short porch in Yankee Stadium, you can move him to the infield and you can keep him in the outfield. You can do whatever you want with him. So he could play multiple
Tremendous
positions.
playoff player, too, as you saw this year.
But you know what? There's somebody waiting right now. And we do this every single week. We call this Goody's Bag of Balls.
My mom was going to wire a car battery on my testicles.
Trying to put Tiger Bomb on this jungle's nuts.
That's how you become great, man. Hang your balls out there.
You know, it's so funny. That sounds like Goody, actually. That last clip sounds just like him.
Goody, I didn't know you had a voice coach that makes it work.
I got a voice coach, man. I got a voice coach. It's right here. This segment's sponsored by Widow Jane, age 10 years.
Oh, God, please.
Hey, Goody,
A little bit of honey.
I'm not going to be mad at you because you said the Reds and Errol said no chance, and they just grabbed a big addition in Gavin Lux.
I told you Tito wouldn't go back to a team that's not in position to
trust
win.
me. I played for him and played against him. I agree.
He said he was going to the World Series. They're not going to the World Series.
He didn't say win it. He just said going.
No, he said they were going to the World Series.
No, he didn't say.
Well, you know what? They're gonna win it.
Okay, now you're being aggressive. Now you're being aggressive.
Good luck.
I'm just saying.
I like Cincinnati. I root for Cincinnati every year, and I like Tito. I do. I didn't like him on the Red Sox, but ever since he's left the Red Sox, I've always liked Tito. So I think he's
He's
great
the GOAT,
coach.
bro.
Yes,
That place is a bandbox to pitch in. You know that as well as I do, Goody.
You guys ready?
Yeah. Cincinnati is a small ballpark and it flies out. Wow. I'm gonna shift this conversation. We're gonna stick with the baseball topic, but you have kids, Jabba. I just gave a couple lessons today. Some really good players, actually. And not just from today, but a lot of the parents I talk to talk about having their kids in multiple different sports, which I think is great. But the ones that just specifically play baseball, they play like Cobra, Perfect Game, Little League, AAU, all this. And, I think playing the game is great. But at some point, I think it's just doing a disservice to these young kids. One, I think the injuries are up, and you can tell that with the amount of Tommy John that's going on. But two, also the kids are getting burnt out at a young age, and I think it's just bad for the product of baseball. And for me personally, we've had opportunities for my kids to go and play on different teams and stuff, and I like it because I like, all right, it's one game a week, but I don't want them playing 12 different teams, and getting burnt out. So my thing, I think youth sports, youth baseball in general is in shambles. not necessarily. Let me take that back. Maybe not necessarily in shambles, but I think it's going down a slippery slope, especially with all the showcases, if you will. I don't know. Did you let Carter play? My stance is I think you should roll with one team and train on the side, or when an off season comes in, it's off season. We're going to hone in on something else to try and build them up instead of just game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they literally like there's kids that go nonstop, and they don't understand sometimes less is more, and they never stop, right? And so for us, it was Carter always had to fall off because he didn't play football, and he was just training, getting ready for basketball season. And then so I mean, growing up, put them in everything, but now like parents don't put them in everything. It's like, oh, I want you to play baseball.
Sports specific.
All you're going to do is just play one sport. Christian McCaffrey came out and said the only reason I'm as good as I am in football is because I played other sports. But
like
you know
cross training.
You know where the problem lies? It's not the kid.
Yes.
It's the parents.
And that's something I have to try and tell the parents is like, man, your kid is 8. He's got a lot. I was a late bloomer. You know, I was not very good when I was younger. Ended up being a late bloomer, but your kid's not getting drafted at 8. Earl, when you have a kid, Speedy, when you have a kid at some point, I think I don't know which route you're going to go down, but
I want my kid to play all the sports. I want him to get, understand how to, how to build, a team. Or I want them to work together. If you're playing basketball, it's really it's a one-man wrecking machine. So, go ahead.
All right. So I put out a tweet and on Instagram asking the fans of the show to give me a couple of topics. I have 2. My boy Seth brought 2 to my attention. Seth Baum's the name. One, I like this take. This is my personal opinion, but I know you guys have covered this a little bit, but I want to hear your thoughts. I think the Oakland A's should have stayed in Oakland. I don't think they should have moved. I think they should have stayed in Oakland. And here's my reasoning behind that. One, not much else to do in Oakland. It's the Coliseum. That Coliseum has a lot of history. Not only did it create jobs for the people in the city, but also, I mean, Leonard Skinner played there. And then not only that, it's a pretty iconic ballpark. Honestly, as a player, it wasn't the greatest place to play. No, you flush the toilet. What you did in the toilet would bubble up into the dugout. Pretty grody.
In the press box, Nick.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, you walk through the fans, you get to the thing, but you know what? I think that's what's special about that ballpark. Not only that, it was filled with loads of history, talking about the World Series in '73, the Bash Brothers, and Canseco and McGuire, Dallas Braden. Shout out to Dallas Braden.
Don't you want to forget about the Bash Brothers? Come on. Nobody wants him. Nobody wants to remember Jose Canseco. Okay,
bro. I don't care. I don't care what he did. The ball off the head, the bash. I mean, I used to go up in high school. Me and my boy, we were the Bash Brothers. But not only that, Hattiesburg's walk off in 20 straight, which was pretty iconic too. My take is Oakland. I wish would have stayed in Oakland. It's also a pretty cool trip when you travel to the West Coast and you go up and down playing Oakland, LA.
Didn't we
LA
talk about
now,
this already?
San Francisco.
Didn't we speak about this? I know Jaba's going to say the same thing because I know he's very close with some of the workers over there. I know he's friends with the security guard over there. So I know where Jaba's going. I think
Jaba wanted him to stay.
Jaba wants him to stay.
How do you feel? How do you feel as a non-player?
I'm not a non-player, and I've never been to the I never been.
Oh,
to,
I mean as a non.
I've never been to Oakland to see the Oakland Athletics play live. I've never been to the stadium. But guess what? They don't sell out. There's not at the fans, even though they're dedicated to their football over there. I don't know if they're as dedicated to their baseball unless they're coming out of nowhere and they win like 18, 19 games in a row. They want to go where there's money and it's going to bring profits. And over there in Oakland, they just weren't bringing enough profit. And if you look at the numbers don't lie. I think, obviously, I wouldn't have moved them over there to Vegas. I would move them somewhere closer for the fans to actually be able to travel. Go ahead, Jaba. I want you to answer the question too.
No, I honestly like they had a close fan base, and we've talked about it. They were fun. They were fun to be around. It sucks for them, and if you paid any attention to baseball, they boycotted like the fact that, oh, you're leaving us, and then now they're going to Sacramento for 2 years. Like, and then you're going to go to Vegas. Like, whatever. Like, it sucks for baseball because it sucks for the true baseball fans that there are.
Golden State or something. I think that would have been better so the fans could get there. That's all I think. I to move them to Vegas is too far to
You're
travel.
just moving them out. Yeah, you're moving Oakland fans out of California. Like,
I'm just saying, make it closer. I don't think sending them to Vegas is smart.
all right, well, let's speak on this. So, like, say Oakland State, where would you put the next expansion team if there were to be an expansion team?
Ooh, I love this question.
I want one in Orlando. We need a baseball team in Orlando. We have Tampa.
Montreal. That's where I go. I go back to the Expos. I bring the Expos back. I loved it over there. And to me, that's what I remember. When I was a kid, I loved watching the Montreal Expos play. So I go Montreal.
I like Errol's idea for Montreal. I also like the idea for Nashville too, as I've heard is one. They're good with college baseball with Tennessee and Vanderbilt. I think that could work for sure. And we've seen what they've done with the Predators. Like that was not supposed to be a hockey city, and they were actually very good for it when they've been on.
They were going to move the Rays to Montreal.
That's right.
That's what I
had
heard.
a dual partnership 4 years ago. The proposal was, but they fell through. I think.
Well, yeah. Now the Rays are playing at Steinbrenner this year, which I mean, obviously. Hope everybody was safe during the hurricane and everything, but that's kind of a weird situation. But Nashville, I've heard, and Goody, you can speak on this too. I've heard is the number one place that they want to go because it's like Justin Timberlake. He's a huge because he's already an investor in a minor league team, and a couple other country stars. Tim McGraw, obviously, dad being Tug McGraw,
yep,
and that they wanted to bring a team down there, which I don't know where you would put it in context of what it is, but I would say probably it's either going to be Nashville or Montreal. I heard Utah too, but I don't think that really has much legs. So I think it's
Utah.
Yeah.
What?
It's weird. Like because they just have so much land and everything. It makes sense, I guess. And you're close to Salt Lake City, so it's easy fly in, fly out, right?
Yeah.
So you've got to look at that aspect too when you're doing this. But I've heard if they're gonna expand, it's either gonna be Nashville or Montreal. Back to Montreal.
Nah, we need one in Orlando, bro. We need one in Orlando.
You're not gonna get three teams in Florida, dog.
What was it, Pat Williams? Imagineers? All right. I'm gonna go back. We're gonna go back a couple of weeks here because some new evidence has come to light on the drones flying over your state over there.
Oh,
Speedy's got
Speedy.
Speedy.
I don't know how to operate a drone, so it wasn't me.
I actually have a drone I never even opened up, by the way. It sits on my counter. I don't know if I'm going to fly it. I'll crash it.
Well, so I don't know if you paid attention, if you follow Sean Ryan, if you have sat down and listened to his interview, but pretty bombshell story that just came out. So supposedly the Sean Ryan was sent an email from a Green Beret, the one who, this is how it all ties in, the one who supposedly took his life in the bombing in front of Trump Tower, right? But before that day, Go Day, he sent an email out to Sean Ryan and a bunch of other people, and basically stating that the drones are American or Chinese, as we're the only two countries to have this type of technology, and that they're run on gravitic propulsion systems. Okay, so before I said,
what the hell is what does that mean?
What do you mean?
Did you say gravitic?
Gravitic propulsion system. So in the podcast, so like Joe Rogan jumps into it a little bit too, but in that podcast, the Sean Ryan's like, I don't know what that means, but if you're into the UFO type of thing, like I am, you understand that it's like, well, let me say, I'm not an aerospace engineer clearly, but you understand that it sort of warps gravity around itself. It's insane. Anyways, I thought they could have been, maybe aliens. Kind of, I don't know if I was hoping they were aliens, but now I'm sold on the fact that they are either ours or China's. You guys are there.
I'm starting to believe that Speedy's an alien. That's what I think. So if there is truth to that, there are
Speedy,
definitely
talk
aliens.
to him, bro. Send one my way. I'm trying to hang out.
If I have any aliens, Goody, you'll be the first one to get one, and maybe you could duplicate.
You are an alien. What are you talking about? If you have any aliens, I mean, you're an alien.
If I find an alien and maybe we'll clone them, I'll send them all to you so you
Let me
can
tell
form
you-
your own baseball team.
I go down some pretty deep rabbit holes, man. You aliens over there, you guys just
Alien
changed the
baseball
way
team.
we see each other. I see it.
Let's play on Uranus.
And of course, you now added that joke, but I guess it is a bag of
Or
balls. So
let's go to Venus.
Well, here's the thing.
I think we already have been. I think we've already.
Well,
been
you know, it's actually not Uranus; it's Uranus. By the way,
Uranus.
Thank you, Java. Thank you. But I do want to transition this to Fish because Fish had an interesting comment. He says his nuts have gravitic propulsion. So
what?
Whoa.
We need an explanation on that, Fish.
That was a private chat, Speedy.
I need a
Private
deep
chat.
dive into the.
I don't know. It fits for the bag of balls.
It's the bag of balls. Well,
And there's the horn.
Oh, I see how it is.
Wow,
There's
where
the
did this
horn.
go? I mean, we went from aliens to balls and many different things on this segment. So thank you very much.
We went from youth sports to baseball to Montreal and Nashville.
I'm
My
telling you,
favorite,
Montreal. I want to see the
UFO.
Expos come back. I think it'll be great. I think it would be fantastic for obviously Canadian baseball. Toronto stinks, and remember Montreal when the Expos were there. I mean, if you look at their draft, I mean they had Pedro Martinez, they had Vladimir Guerrero. I mean they had some great players that came from the Montreal Expos, and then obviously
they had Shea Paris.
That's right.
And don't forget iconic power hitter Bartolo Colon.
That's right. Bartolo Colon. They had a lot of
Shea Paris is a legend.
Yeah, I just I think the
It's a
players
strip
really
club, by the way.
I figured. That's why I laughed.
I think the players would like an expansion team in like Hawaii.
Don't tell Scooby that.
Or Puerto Rico. I played in Puerto Rico for the Caribbean or for the Puerto Rican series. It was one of the best baseball experiences of my life. Absolute fiesta the entire game. Girls dancing on freaking dugouts. I mean, I was just like, "What? Are we playing a
Kelly
game?"
there? Fiesta.
Bro,
That's where the song came from.
it
Fiesta.
was insane. I
Puerto
couldn't believe
Rico
it.
is great.
It was amazing. The food was great. We
It's
sold out
hot
2
as
games
balls, though.
in 1 minute. Our power was going out, and they were like, flip the power on, and they were,
That's all I care
dude, we were on the same power grid as the hospitals. It was insane. And one of the best baseball experiences.
Butt clapping.
Yeah.
Butt clapping. Anyways, Nick, we got to get to the clap right now. I mean, not that kind of clap.
Yeah.
You know,
I got.
has
I'm
a
sure
clap.
Speedy's got some cream for that, but all right.
No, they're with your aliens. They took them all.
Hopefully, they're not in your pants. Anyways, Nick, thank you very much, as always. Goody's bag of balls, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks, fellas.
Yes, absolutely.
Deuces.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have our golf clap of the day.
This deserves a golf clap.
No doubt. Golf clap. Golf clap.
Well, my golf clap of the day goes to, yes, ladies and gentlemen, the wife of the late Padres owner, Peter Seidler, sues for control of the team. Well, I don't know if anybody knows this story. Well, it's starting to grow legs, or maybe it has 3 or 4. The Padres announced December 21st that Peter's oldest brother, John Seidler, would become the team's control person, which Shields opposed and claims went against her late husband's wishes. In the letter to the fans, Shield called her complaint a very last resort to protect my family and to continue to carry Peter's legacy. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what the legacy the Padres have had because they haven't won a World Series. What the hell is the legacy? There is no legacy over there. They spend too much money, they throw players away, and then they decide to trade them for nothing. This is an organization that's an absolute joke. Besides the New York Jets, besides many New York teams, the Padres are a laughing stock when it comes to baseball. So I don't know what she is talking about, and I have no idea what kind of legacy the late, great Peter Seidler had. The only legacy he had was lose, lose, lose. So my golf clap of the day goes to whoever her name is, and the late, great owner's wife, Peter Seidler. What the hell are you thinking? So my golf clap of the day goes to Mrs. Seidler. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you for making us laugh one more time about the San Diego San Diego Padres. I almost said Chargers. That was a joke too of an organization. And now they're playing in LA and they can't even sell out games. So good. How many fans? I think the most fans they had this year, the LA Rams, I think if I'm not mistaken, it was like 14 or 15,000. I mean, that's bad. And they're making the playoffs, ladies and gentlemen. They won the division. 14 or 15,000. I mean, the Giants and the Jets and the Giants that are a terrible organ. They're terrible. They're selling out 50, 60,000 people in their stadium. Yep. And this team can't sell out more than 20,000.
Oh, and I'm sure you remember when they tried to like block all the 49ers fans from coming in too.
Yeah, they do that like yearly. But that's the only team that shows up.
What the hell is this? Who the hell is this right over here? 13 seconds. I need a massage. Errol, get those hands ready. My shoulders are tense.
I want this murder account, everybody.
What the hell is going on tonight? Oh, anyways, when we
the people you hang out with.
I don't know who 13 seconds is. By the way, it doesn't take me 13 seconds to do that, my friend. Anyways, when we come back, this is the first time he's been on our show. We're very excited to have him on. We will be talking to USA Today sports writer Scooby Axson. But first, our Sports Minute with Tommy Scoops.
3, 2, 1. This is the Jabba and the Mouth Sports Minute.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you know the deal. I am Scoops to bring you the Sports Minute here on Jabba and the Mouth, and to start off with some more firings over in the NFL. Although the Colts will be keeping head coach Shane Steichen, the team will be firing their defensive coordinator Gus Bradley after 3 seasons with the team. The Colts will now look for a new coordinator next season. While on the topic still of the coaching dilemmas, the Saints and Bears have actually offered to interview the Giants offensive coordinator Mike Kafka, as the two franchises will be looking to New York for their vacant coaching spot. And to finish things up, we'll be here in the NBA. The Pelicans forward Zion Williamson could be returning very soon. And after missing the past 2 months with the hamstring injury, Zion actually played 5-on-5 practice today and could be returning as soon as this week. And keeping it still with the NBA now for Scoops' scores, the Pacers have a 67-53 lead over the Nets in the third quarter, while the Magic have a 64-57 lead over the Knicks in the third quarter as well. The Trailblazers have a 2.106-104 lead over the Pistons with 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter, while in the fourth quarter as well, the Suns have a 98-85 lead over the 76ers. In the third quarter, the Bucks have an 85-61 lead over the Raptors, and at halftime, the Spurs have a 65-50 lead over the Bulls. The Grizzlies have a 2.52-50 lead over the Mavericks, while the Clippers at halftime are leading over the Timberwolves 53-46. And for some NHL scores, the Sabres have a 2-1 lead over the Capitals, while the Canucks and Canadiens are both tied at 1 apiece. That is currently all the time I have for you guys right now. Kicking it back to the boys for their next guest on Jabba and the Mouth.
Any questions?
What is this? We're back. This is the Jabba and the Mouth Show.
Where are you? 631 672 3108. You're listening to Jabba and the Mouth. I'm your host, Errol Marks, my co-host, Jabba Chamberlain and Speedy Petey. Go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out all our shows throughout the week, including Jabba and the Mouth every single Mondays and Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. All you have to do to tune in and check out our local listings for all our shows is go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. I met this guy at the Heisman dinner. We had a couple of conversations, and seems like an outgoing, down-to-earth type of guy. He's been writing for a very, very long time. We are now talking to USA Today sports writer Scooby Doo Axson. Scooby, what's up,
What's
man?
going on? What's going on? Can you hear me?
We hear you. You good? And how are you
Yeah,
doing? How's
yeah.
everything going since Heisman?
I see you got the Mr. Machine up. You know, I'm looking at my kid through the camera, acting a fool in his crib. So, you know, he's he's 20 months old, already climbing, already fulfilling his Spider-Man fantasies. So, you know, he got to stop quick. You know, so you know it's going good. I can't complain.
Well, don't blink. It goes by fast.
Oh yeah, no doubt. This is my first one, so I'm just like, damn, man. Do I want another one? Nah.
Mine's
No.
in college, so
Yeah. So you know, it's like I said, he got his first haircut today, so that was an adventure. So yeah, it's going good, man. Like I said, can't complain. Met my boy at the Heisman ceremony, and that was interesting, to say the least. I mean, it was just like, I mean, I go to it every year, and it's the same dog and pony show every year. I mean, some people literally go there, get their credential, don't write nothing, and just sit there and eat the free food. I mean,
Ashley Sarge.
Yeah. So, I mean, you get, honestly, I say a third of the people there are just there. They're not there for any reason. They're just there to eat free food, mingle, yap all night long. So, you know, free food was excellent. Can't complain about that. But, you know, I was there to work
The food
just
was
a little
good.
bit.
The food was disgusting. No offense to
I mean, what I had was
What did you
decent.
eat? What did you eat?
The chicken that I threw up in the Uber on the way home. Yeah. It was pretty bad, man. It was, yeah. I was sick the whole next day. It was horrible. Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
I was actually standing on the line with Prince Amukamara, and he was sitting there.
Yeah.
And after we were in the corner, and he was eating, and he was like, "Dude, I'm not touching that stuff." I think he took a couple of bites to it. He's like, "Man," he's like, "You're talking about this is the Heisman dinner, and this is what they're going to give us. This is what they're feeding us. I mean, it's like dog food."
You lucky they feed us at all, because when I go to Knicks games or Nets games, you got to pay like $10 for that crap. I'm like, no, let me just go to the concession and get me a $25 bucket of chicken fingers and do it. Like, I'm serious. I'm serious. Like, I'm not paying $10 for this, man. So let me just go, you know, spend the money and get full, you know, and have a good time. But like I said, most of the stuff, I'm telling you, like, some of these organizations, like the NBA draft, went to the NBA draft. They kind of got their stuff together. The WNBA draft, oh my word. It was pretty bad, man. They had it at the Brooklyn School of Music, first of all.
Oh, how
so
wonderful.
Limited space. Yeah. And so
look at Jabba's
so
face.
what the and I could tell this story because what I asked one of the representatives, how come you guys didn't have it at Barclays? More space, you know. They actually told me they didn't know that Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese were going to come out, and that's why they had this. If they would have known, which everybody else knew, in like September that these two ladies were coming out.
How the hell didn't they know?
Hey! I don't know what they were smoking or who they thought they can get by on, but it was. I mean, the draft was starting, and they still had a line outside the door for media to come in. Like it was. I was just like, man, this is. it was crazy, man. So I judged the event on the food. Actually, every event that I go to, New York City Marathon, I covered excellent food, breakfast. You know, some organizations actually know what they're doing, and so I kind of judge. Like I go to college games. Yeah. So like so I went to the University of Oklahoma, and so I go back there. I understand. I'm not gonna lose no sleep. Like when they lose, I don't care because I wasn't out on the field. You know, it doesn't ruin my day.
You guys kept Alabama out of the playoffs. That's what matters.
Hey, I was shocked. So let me say, when I go to Oklahoma and they have these 11 o'clock kickoffs in the morning, and so like, all right, what's the food like? Oh, they roll out Chick-fil-A. I say, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Got the Coke products, all you can eat. Yes, sir. So some people know how to do it. So like I said, yeah.
I definitely got to get into this Heisman dinner, but I don't want. I want to move away. I want to shift away from the food. I want to get to who won the Heisman Trophy. And I know you saw me walk up. I was up there taking pictures and taking video. And I was talking to Cam, and Cam actually mentioned in his interview that somebody brought up to him if you got drafted from one of these New York teams, how would you feel playing in New York? And he says, I would love it. I wouldn't want to be here in New York. I'd probably live in New Jersey. I'm more of a mellow type of guy. I just want to concentrate on the team. And then did
somebody tell him that the taxes were high there too?
I think somebody did.
Because if they're not informing him, you can live in Florham Park all day long. Go right ahead. I live in Manhattan. I know the deal. They're going to tax the hell out of you. Go right ahead.
Scoop, I was standing right over there, and I told Cam, I said, I think you would rather play for the Jets because the Jets actually have somewhat of a team around some of the players. And Travis actually said some kind of smart-ass remark. He went, the Jets? Are you kidding me? And I turned around and I said, hey, Travis, it doesn't matter that even if the Jets were sitting there, they're not drafting you. So who cares? And I walked away, and then you see Travis Hunter wins the Heisman Trophy. Honestly, do you think Travis Hunter should have won the Heisman Trophy?
He was the best player in college football. That's
think so?
What the award is named for.
You don't think
that's what the award? He was the best running back. This is the way I look at it. And being a historian, okay, so everybody's talking about him possibly breaking Barry Sanders' record. Okay, this is the way I look at it. If you do not rush for 2,851 yards in 12 games, don't talk to me. Because that's what Barry Sanders did in 1988. If you 26, 25, and they didn't even count the bowl game. He rushed for 225 yards in 3 quarters in the bowl game, which they do not count. So that's why I upped it to 2850. So he played 12 games, rushed for 2850 with, I want to say, 47 touchdowns. If a runner can't do it within that time frame, don't want to hear it. just stop it. So again, I watch pretty much everything. I thought Travis Hunter was the best player in college football, at least the best defensive back. And I'll vote on the Biletnikoff as well. So again, I think that the top 3 guys that were finalists, I did vote for them. But I thought he was the best player in college football. And that's the name of any other year, Genty would have won it. Any other year, but that's just, as someone who covers the sport, who looks at damn near everything, that's just an opinion. I tell you what, some of these people that vote need to get slapped or get their vote taken away. You can't leave people off the ballot because you hate Dion or whatever. You just can't do it. Like, why have a vote if you're leaving people off the ballot? And some of these people who got first place votes. I mean, let me look this up right quick. Let me see who got first place vote. Curtis Rourke of Indiana got 2 first place. Like, props to Stevie Wonder, but does he have a vote? Like what are we doing here? Like, just I mean, I hate to like come on, man. Like it's 2 first place votes. I commend them because reportedly he played the entire year with a torn ACL. So I commend him on that, but he wasn't the best player in college football.
Yeah,
not. Yeah. Shedeur Sanders got 1. Tyler Warren of Penn State got a first place vote. And this is the thing. So he won the Mackey Award for the best tight end. He did not make first team All American by the AP. He was you're the best tight end in college football, but you're second team All American.
So what are
How does
the
that work?
standards to vote though? Like, do you have to be like in a certain realm or be a writer for so long? Like, what dignifies your vote?
No, I mean they basically the awards committee they will just ask anyone of certain reputation to vote. Like I said, the 935 people that vote for the Heisman, 870 of them are the media, and then you got the former winners that have a vote, and then you have a fan vote that counts for one vote. For the other national awards, those committee members will reach out to whoever they want voting. Like the Blitnikoff, there has to be like 100 and something of us that's voting on this thing. And our names are readily available online to see who's voting for this stuff. Again, I wish they would make it more transparent. But like some of this stuff, like again, Travis Hunter did not make the finalist of the Thorpe Award for the best defensive back, but he won every defensive player of the year award. How does that work? And the Thorpe Award is given out in Oklahoma City. Ashamed to claim Oklahoma at this time, but like, what are we doing? So again, everybody can basically say this is why I voted, but you just can't leave dudes off the ballot if you have a vote. Like just take a nap or something, or give somebody else your voting credentials, but just don't do that.
Shifting to the playoff, the 12-team playoff, the first year of it so far, we saw four favorites win round one, and then we saw not upsets, but like the lower seeds win round two. So what are your thoughts on the overall impact so far of that?
The overall concept of it is wrong, given these teams buys. Boise, Arizona State, and every team that had a bye lost. And I don't know if it's because they're not playing in 20 days or whatever, but buys out like water. Georgia, again, they knew that their quarterback was hurt. And so giving them a number 2 seed and a bye, you remember what happened to Florida State? Their starting quarterback got hurt. And
Travis, this is Jeff, by the way.
Yeah, let's get out of here. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, he's capable of winning the national championship. That's the only problem I have with it. This is not the NCAA tournament where Cinderella. We're talking about football, where they're ass kickings on a nightly basis. So if you don't show up, you're going to get blown out by 20, 25 points, as we saw the majority of these games. So the only issue I have with it is, inviting everybody in. Not, I can't even go to 8. 8 is fine with me. 12, there are not 12 teams that are capable of winning national championship.
So what, like, to add on to that, what would you change in what you see fits and gives us the best team that wins in college football?
Well, again, let the conference champions have their way in, and then, resume building. Everybody was screaming Alabama. Well, they don't play teams in their conference, so your argument is crap. The non-conference had nothing to do with them getting in the playoff. They lost to teams they should not have lost to. Ole Miss, quit complaining. Lane Kiffin, love you. Shut your yap. Please. You lost to Kentucky. Kentucky, who had, I think, one conference win, if that. So you lose to teams you shouldn't lose to. You have no complaint. No, I don't feel sorry for any team. Miami had it right there in your hands, got beat. No sympathy for you, especially when these coaches are making $8, $9, $10 million, have zero sympathy for you. Collect that direct deposit. Have a nice day. You'll be sitting on the couch watching it with the rest of everybody else. So no sympathy.
We are talking to USA Today sports writer Scooby Axson. His first time on, he's on the show. We actually met at the Heisman. It was fantastic. We actually had there's a lot of conversations over the last 48 hours about Shedeur Sanders. And some people think Shedeur is not a first-round draft pick. I've been saying this really since last year. I think he's one of the most overrated quarterbacks we have seen in college football in a very long time.
Because he's a first-round pick because these teams are quarterback needy, and who else are you going to get? That's why. There's some issues with Shedeur Sanders. One, he holds on to the ball entirely too long. If you do that in the NFL, here comes the meat wagon. They're going to carry you up. I'm serious. If you don't have the awareness to get rid of the ball and stop taking these stupid sacks, and he's not Lamar Jackson. He's not running all over the place. He is a pocket passer. So if he needs to get, again, beautiful arm, but the awareness before April comes, I mean, he needs to explain to these teams why he's taking some of these sacks when he doesn't need to. But he's a first-round pick because of the need of the quarterback playing in the NFL. There are 10, 11, 12 good quarterbacks, and the rest you just throw out there. You know, like some of these guys that yap on TV on a daily basis. It's ridiculous, honestly. I try not to listen to most of it, but you know, evaluating quarterbacks is not an exact science. Because you can say, you know, I could throw all my chips on Shedeur Sanders. He could be out of the league in 4 years.
Which I think,
you know what I'm saying? So it could happen. He needs to get in the right system. Yeah. He needs to get in the right system with the offensive minded head coach and break down that tape. Like, you just can't be taking 12, 13-yard losses on sacks. You know, getting your team out of field goal, but like awareness. That's the only issue I have with him. And again, he's not the most athletic guy in the world. He will admit that, and he has admitted that. But some of that stuff is just not going to fly.
Admits to something. I mean, that guy being humble. I mean, what happened in that? I mean,
he's not over here running like Lamar Jackson or some of these other guys. That's defenses. He can read a defense. I give him that. But again, when the rush is coming in, what I call, you remember the old school game, the Tic-Tac-No Bowl? When you pick the play, that Tic-Tac-No blitz is coming. You got to get rid of that ball. Why are you sitting? Yeah, why are you sitting back there? You know, cooking hot dogs and like, get rid of the ball. Like, it's, again, I just, you know, I call it as I see it, and try to, and I joke about this every week in a column on USA Today. And I had to stop in the middle of the season, had some family issues going on, and thank God the wife is doing okay and kids are doing okay. But yeah, it was and I will let you go down that rabbit hole on my Twitter or to see what happened. It's out there publicly. Like I said, my wife is doing much better now. But I had to again take a tongue-in-cheek look at college football every week, and basically I just grade the entire weekend and try to put some humor into it. And like I said, just just have fun with it, man. I have a ball, man. Like I said, we go somewhere, we cover the Heisman. I have a ball, man. Everything ain't serious. The direct deposit still comes in. I still get paid every 2 weeks. I'm here to have fun, man. And if the last 9 months taught me anything, is that, damn it, I'm not go waste it. Like I said, I appreciate you guys inviting me on. We go have some fun. We go laugh. We go clown. Because there's some people out here that need to be clown all day, every day, and that's why we're here. We're here to laugh at them.
Speedy's afraid of clowns, so don't tell him that.
Oh,
He's afraid of clowns.
Hey, shrine clowns. I get it. Yeah.
I don't know what got into the food at the Heisman, but I don't know what made Errol think that. But I guess he had a different reaction than you did, Scooby.
Hey, man. Yeah. No doubt.
So I want to ask about the two games. There were two.
There you go, right there. There we go, right there. That's my boy. Yes, that's my boy right there.
You just got to shake your head like this.
Yep, got to give Curtis Rook those 2 votes, man. I'm telling you.
So the 2 games upcoming: Ohio State versus Texas, Notre Dame versus Penn State. X factors for both of those games. Who do you think wins?
Ohio State, because if Texas shows up and can't move the ball, I'll be eating my gummy bears by halftime. It's just gonna be. It's not gonna be pretty. If Ohio State shows up like the $20 million roster that they're supposed to have,
what kind of gummy bears though?
Oh, Haribo.
All right.
Don't come with.
I'm a fat kid. I gotta make sure.
Hey, don't come with that fake crap. So I remember back in the day, you used to drink Kool-Aid, and then you go in the Kool-Aid aisle, and they have something called. No, they have something called Flavor Aid. What? Like, this crap out here. No, you give me the Kool-Aid, man. Yeah. So
hey,
you give me the real.
Kool-Aid was invented, right?
No,
Nebraska,
but it's damn good.
Yeah, Nebraska,
but you got to put like a 5-pound bag of sugar in it. You got to get direct diabetes. One sip.
And if you truly know, it's not a flavor; it's a color.
Yes. Don't give me that grape stuff. I want purple.
I want purple or red.
What kind of Kool-Aid do you want? I want purple.
I
want red.
I like purple.
Yes.
I'm a grape person. I like the grape.
Have you ever had?
No, I've never.
That's old school.
I have had
actually, country time lemonade. Yeah. That's the equivalent. Yeah, that's the equivalent to sugar time lemonade. That's the equivalent to drinking like Old Milwaukee for beer.
Dude, they still sell Bush beer. Yes, they do. Here in New York, they do. I go to I'll tell you this. Over here, I don't understand it.
There you go. There you go.
There you go.
Oh my God.
It's crazy over here because there's a bunch of beer places over here, and when you go there, they have every single beer, and they're only out for like 2 or 3 months, and I've never even heard of half of them. I'm standing there and I'm like, what is this? What is that? What kind of taste is this? I don't even drink, so I wouldn't even know. Someone tell me.
Yeah, me either. Like you said, it's summer beer. It sounds like summer this.
What the hell is a summer beer? Oh,
yeah,
beer. It's the same thing. What is
so
summer beer?
So
pumpkin beer.
So Jabba was asking about Texas and Ohio State, and I just want to again. Quinn Ewers, if he comes out again, first rounder because of teams that need a quarterback. Like, I don't think he's anything, Andrew Luck, Peyton Manning special. Because these teams will get overly excited about a quarterback. Again, some hit, some will miss. Bo Nix hit, Jaden Daniels hit, Caleb Williams still jury's out. So Again, it's not an exact science, but if they do not run the ball, if Texas does not run the ball, yep, it's gonna be over quick, fast, in a hurry.
You know, I will say this, and Notre Dame has Riley Leonard. We've been interviewing him since he was in high school. We love Riley Leonard, and we root for him. He's one of those guys that we root for. He obviously went to the transfer portal. He went to Notre Dame. This is his first year in Notre Dame.
Yep.
He's probably entering in the NFL draft. What are your thoughts? Do you think that?
Oh, wow. Yeah, of course. I mean, they have as good a chance as anybody, but hang your hat on that defense. That's going to win them that title. I don't think he can. What did he go for against Georgia? He's not going 15 for 24 for 90 yards. That's amazing. Like you complete 15 passes for only 90. That takes some skill, man. That takes some skill. Like all three of us, all four of us can get out there and complete 15 passes for 90 yards. That takes some. I mean, that's absurd. That's an absurd stat. If he comes anywhere near that, again, Penn State, Notre Dame, I like Notre Dame in this game, 20-16. That's where I'm going. 20-16, Notre Dame.
Wow. Defensive duel. A lot of the good defenses are like the best. The four defenses are the best.
Yeah. Again, Ohio State is a damn near NFL team. But Will Howard is the X factor. Yeah. Because once he starts completing passes to those receivers, then that running game just opens up. You saw it in the last game. Throw it deep to Jeremiah Smith. Just hand it off to Henderson and Judkins and let them just run all over the place. And that's exactly what they did. Look at this. This is absurd. Like the dude was burnt off the line. Like, how do you get beat when you're playing 5 yards back? Like, look at this. Come on, man. That's Bo Jackson Tecmo Bowl. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh,
dude wasn't touched. Like, come on. So that time control game to stay in it, and they're going to have to get Will Howard to turn the ball over, which he has done, to stay in the game and run the ball. Yep, you see this? Yep, run the ball.
And the crazy part, Scoob, though, is like the lower seeds are favored in both games. Yeah,
which tells you they don't know how to seed these things. Like I said, if you get 13 dudes in the room, you're going to have 13 different opinions.
Well, did you see how boring as hell that committee room was?
Yeah, I didn't see no pizza, no wings,
food, no nothing.
They just sit there watching the big screen. Like, come on, man.
Just
in a rocking chair.
Like, come on, man. Like, give me some energy.
Just
like, give me something. Like, they showed it. Like, first of all, they should have never shown that because all of us, like, enthusiasts of sports, whether we talk about it, whether we write about it, whether we're just fans, like, they were in there with their thumb in their booty holes and they wasn't doing nothing. Like, you didn't see no spread. You didn't see nothing.
Yeah.
It was
let me tell you something.
And you're like,
who's ever in charge of your graphics, give that dude a pay raise. Like right now, it's hilarious. You got the Mr. Machine. You got my picture from when I was in Iraq, man. Yeah, y'all scour that internet, man. I mean, it's freely available on Facebook.
That's our executive producer, Fish. So
that's good stuff right there, man. I'm telling you. Yeah.
So we need Scooby Doo picking up an axe. That'll be the winner.
Yeah.
So you covered a lot of things and seen a lot of things, right? What in sports for you has been the most fun to like cover and talk about, whether it's related to you or whether it was just like, damn, this was fun. Like I learned a lot.
I think because again, my story is not like everyone else's. Being in the military, and I got my bachelor's in journalism at the University of Oklahoma.
Thank you for your service, by the way. Thank you so much.
And then actually, so the beginning of my sophomore year, Hurricane Katrina happened. And so I was in the Oklahoma National Guard, and our unit got called up. And so the hurricane happens on a Tuesday. They call us like, you have your ass at the armory on tomorrow on a Wednesday with your gear. So I go up there, and my job at the time was driving the commanding general. I'm not letting soldiers in school go to New Orleans. You need to stay in school. I was like, sir, gotta go. I gotta see this. Gotta go. And he's like, okay, I'll have you back in 2 weeks. So we get down there, and he got me back to school in 2 weeks. But the stuff that I saw in New Orleans, and I saw more than pretty much every soldier because I was driving the commanding general when he had to go places. When we saw the Superdome and how torn up it was, I was like, they'll never play football here again, ever. It was that bad. I mean, they tore that place to shreds. Go inside the Superdome. And mind you, this is where they had shelter. People just taking a dump on the 50-yard line, just, hey, dead serious. Hey, no electricity.
Drew, where are you?
Fighting for survival. So I get back from New Orleans. So I'm back in school probably 2 weeks. I'm sitting at home on a Saturday night, and my editor-in-chief calls me and says, you need to get down to the stadium. Oklahoma was playing Kansas State. And I was like, nope, not going. I'm watching the game. She's like, no, something's going on down here. You need to get to the stadium now. People were leaving in the second quarter. And at this time, I was the crime reporter for the newspaper. So I get down there, and I'm talking to cops, campus police, and I happen to see an FBI robot. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? And basically what happened is a guy strapped a bomb to himself outside the architecture building about 100 yards from campus while a game was going on, and blew himself up outside the game while the game was going on. And that really started my journalism career because I got on that story, and next thing I know, CNN is in town interviewing it. It was wild. And so, I didn't start covering sports until my senior year. Adrian Peterson, the Paris Twins and women's basketball. So again, knowing that I graduated and knowing I had to go to Iraq, basically, got my career off in a not so great start because I had to go over there and fight that war and go through all that and come back and try to live a regular life, which is wasn't easy, tell you that. So
before we let you go, because I know you're a busy guy, you got your son. Is he sleeping?
Oh, absolutely not. He's jumping up and down in his crib, acting a straight fool. I see him. He think he's slick. That's all right.
When we're little kids, I mean, I could tell you.
Yeah.
I can tell you what my mom used to do. She used to tape my diapers to my body because I used to take it off and use my.
Oh, so you was a little voyeur,
yeah, I was one of those guys.
No.
I was one of those guys that used it as like finger paint and stuff.
Oh.
Yes.
Nah.
I was one of those.
Nah.
Speedy, you know all about that, right?
Disgusting.
That is disgusting. Anyway.
So glad my son never did that. Thank God.
Yeah. Oh my God. Woo.
My mom always told me, it's like, what you do to your parents is what your kids are going to do 20 times worse to you. So whenever
did your mom have like a steam cleaner on handy when you did that? Just at the ready?
when I was
steam
so my parents used to I have an older sister. We're all a year apart. So my older sister right now is 43. I'm 42. 41 is my younger sister, and my younger brother is going to be 40. So we're all a year apart. So both me and my sister, my oldest sister was, I think she was 3 and I was 2, and my younger sister was just born. My parents used to stick me downstairs, and that was when I was 2. I started walking, and at the end of 1. So they stuck me downstairs, and what they used to do is they used to put a gate up because they were afraid that if I got out of the gate and went upstairs and crawled upstairs, I would take my diaper out and smother it all over the kitchen, which I've done before.
Oh, my God.
And my mom, they would not keep me in a crib because the one time I was in a crib, when I was old enough to understand what I was doing, I would take my diaper off and smear it in the crib so it would get into like the handles and everything. So my mom used to tell me, she'd say, you were so bad that my father used to tell my father would have to go in there with like to try to get inside everything like that. So they had to throw the crib out, so they couldn't even use it for my younger sister.
This explains a lot about you.
Well,
yeah, explains a lot.
You're a better. Your pop's a better man than me.
My
like
father
hell no.
may rest in peace. My father was a good man. But he used to tell me I was a terror in every kind of way. So Dad, up in heaven, I scared a lot of people when I was a kid. But yeah, look, I'm a strapping. But anyways, before we let you go, my friends, you've been writing for the USA Today for a little while. Tell us a little bit about what you've been doing over the past year writing for the USA Today.
Well, like I said, because my wife was going through things. Again, I write everything. So Enterprise, I can write NFL, college basketball, NBA. I do it all. New York City Marathon. And before USA Today, I spent 7 years at Sports Illustrated. So like I said, I pride myself in watching everything and having the ability to talk about everything. Because where I grew up on a military base in Lawton, Fort Sill, Oklahoma, because my mother was in the military as well. So, and OU was everything. And another thing, that year of Hurricane Katrina, that's when the Hornets came to town.
That's right.
Remember the Hornets, and stayed in Oklahoma City for a couple of years and got the Seattle people's wheels turning.
Right?
Yep. So again, college sports. I think the marathon opened my eyes to a lot, because those athletes are ridiculous. Just imagine eating 10,000 calories a day, and like it's nothing, and then going running, 10 miles a day, eating 10,000 more calories. Like if we did that, of course we'd be waddling around the house, but they just gave me a new appreciation of the athlete. Just absolutely outstanding, especially the wheelchair athletes and the things that they go through, man. It's just fun covering sports, getting paid to write stories, to tell stories. And again, I'm not some hot take artist at all. I just call it like I see it, and try to put some truth to it. And again, have fun. Like I said, I mean the clown Stevie there, but hey, man, you do what you. I'm gonna go listen to some Stevie Wonder tonight to repent my sins. But just
lover, baby.
Yes, part-time lover. Yes, just.
I'm not going to be singing. I don't want to scare people.
Yeah. But like I said, it's a pleasure to talk with guys like you. There you go. See, not just a voter, a senior voter. A senior. I don't know what a senior voter is, but damn it, He's like, who did you vote for, Stevie? Curtis. Curtis. Now, again, love Curtis Rourke. Had a fabulous season, torn ACL.
Yes.
But, hey, man.
You ever heard the story about Stevie and Shaq? Shaq said he ran into Stevie in an elevator, and this is documented. He ran into Stevie in an elevator, and he goes, "Hey, Shaq," and he's like, "I can see you." And I was like, "What?" Like,
Hey,
you have to look it up. He was like, "How the hell would he know that that's me?"
Yeah, there's some stories about the validity of Stevie's blindness and how there's some stories out there. But
he I like love Stevie. Isn't She Lovely is one of my favorite songs ever. But literally, he went from like a forehead to like a head. That
he
shit
got
went way back. It went way back.
Like Charles Barkley used to say when he was clowning LeBron, "Just come on home, man. Shave it off.
Yeah,
just come on home. Just
the dreads is hanging though."
Or go to where do they go? They go to Turkey to get that those implants. Dude, I mean, but he's
Hey,
rich.
they said the greatest comeback ever was LeBron's hairline.
Oh, dude.
99% from that little headband to the big headband. And then he came back
Man, it's ridiculous, man. Like I said, the funniest thing is I'm sure you've seen this when Charles and Shaq was clowning Derek White of the Celtics.
Yes.
Oh my. Oh, you talk about laugh. Oh, just good stuff. And I saw something about what Charles said about Jay-Z. Have you seen that clip?
Yes. I remember what he said.
Just come on, man. Just
Charles,
like I said,
Charles is a unique personality. I mean,
yes.
The two times that I met Charles Barkley, the one time I was out in the Hamptons and he was at the food market and his wife was dragging him out. He's like, "We got to get to the liquor store pronto." And I heard him say that. I was like, I turned around. I was like, "That's Charles Barkley." So I was like,
yeah.
Pronto, he said.
So, like I said, just again, meeting different people, coming across you at the high again. That's what this kind of stuff I live for. Just meeting different people, doing different things. And again, I was doing the high than 4 or 5 years in a row. It's just great meeting people and getting to know you guys, man. Like I said, I could tell you guys have a ball on here, and that's what it's about. You know, you're not some stuffy sports guy. Look at that. That's just pitiful. That is. Oh my God. That is ridiculous. I
wasn't eating it. What the hell are you doing, fish?
Oh my God.
My mom did say I stuck it in my nose, but I
Oh
didn't put
my.
it in my
mouth. That's pitiful. That is absolutely pitiful. Oh my.
That might be the best one
Oh,
yet, by the way.
I'm telling you, man. I knew it as soon as I saw the mystery machine. I saw my gear in Iraq. I'm like, yep, these guys are on something. Yep,
They're definitely on something. Hopefully, we're not losing at anything either.
Nah.
Scooby, you're fantastic. We'll definitely get you on very, very soon. Keep up the good work, and thank God your wife is doing better.
Yeah, appreciate it. You guys have a good night.
You too, my friend.
All right, bye-bye.
Axson, ladies and gentlemen. He was fantastic. Really great content. If you guys didn't check it out, well, you missed a really good one. Fantastic, great personality. And that's what we were doing at the Heisman. He was eavesdropping. Everything I was saying, he just kept eardropping on everything that I was talking to or whoever I was.
Hold on, wait.
Yes.
Is it eavesdropping or ears dropping?
Ears dropping, because there were ears falling off people's heads. Yeah.
Wouldn't it be eavesdropping?
It is, but it was ears dropping because there was a lot of things that I was saying that was making people's ears fall off. So it was ears dropping for what I was saying. As I was not. Everybody was kissing Travis Hunter's ass, and I wasn't. So I think that's what really stuck out when we were there. So nevertheless, it was an interesting time. NBA.com reports that the Heat suspended Jimmy Buckets for 7 games for conduct detrimental to the team. Butler requests a trade from the Heat and said last week playing for them causes him to lose joy in playing basketball. Pat Riley called Jimmy Butler trade saga a distraction and stands by his decision. The NBA Players Association has filed an appeal for Butler's suspension, saying 7 games was a little excessive. ESPN's Brian Windhorst says he expected Butler to want out after not getting an extension this offseason and called the way the Heat has handled the drama wild. ESPN's Tim Bontemps doesn't believe that the Heat will get the value they expect in return for Butler with his drama going on. Butler is on the final year of his contract worth about $49 million and has a player option next season worth about $52 million. Well, Jimmy Buckets looks like he's on his way out. And I said this not even on the show. We were having our meeting last night. The last person that Pat Riley suspended for a significant, he wasn't even the GM. And what happened to Xavier McDaniel after that? He got traded. So it doesn't seem very, very good for all you Heat fans when you hear your best player could be on his way out. Now, Bam Adebayo has been a success, but Bam Adebayo is not Jimmy Buckets. And what do they get for him? Now, Jimmy Butler's 36 years old, 35 years old. He's at the tail end of his career. Now, he's still one of the best offensive players, defensive players in the game, especially in the playoffs. He's pretty unstoppable. There's nobody when 100% healthy that has played as well as Jimmy Buckets over the last 5 seasons in the playoffs. The guy's been unbelievable. He's been a showstopper. The Celtics hate playing him. He dominates the Celtics every time he plays. He also dominates the Knicks when he plays them in big games. So I don't know where Pat Riley goes with it. Now, it is a distraction. Obviously, he's a unique personality. He's a Tyreek Hill type of personality. And if anybody knows about who Jimmy Buckets is and Jimmy Butler is, he's a family man. His father just passed away about a year and a half ago. He's one of the world's best dominoes players. Believe it or not, Jimmy Butler is one of the top 5 dominoes players in the world. It's crazy, but he is. And the personality that he brings to the basketball court is something to a team and an organization. Now, Pat Riley doesn't like this, obviously. He's not LeBron James. He's not a guy that is politically sound. I think Jimmy Buckets says what he feels, and he doesn't hide away, hides behind in the politic world. Jimmy Butler doesn't use politics to hide behind his thoughts to what's going on in the NBA. He has said his thoughts to where the NBA is going and what the NBA has done in the regular season. He doesn't like this tournament. I agree with Jimmy Butler. I would love Jimmy Buckets on my team with the New York Knicks. Now, what would the Knicks give up to get somebody like him? I do believe they're going to look for an overhaul. He's a guy that still is can defend multiple positions. He's a three-point shooter. He can do everything on the basketball court. Very good rebounder for his size. I just think that the NBA Association trying to, fight this, I think they'll win. I think they'll cut it down to 4. But nevertheless, it's not going to make a difference. I do believe the Heat has been wanting to get rid of Jimmy Buckets. I think Jimmy Butler is now trying to just push his way out. This is something that Kyrie Irving has done in the past with the Nets. And I think Jimmy Buckets is going to go to a team that's a playoff team. Don't be surprised if you hear Oklahoma City. That's a team that I think is definitely going to be running and gunning for him. And the LA Lakers, a team that De'Aaron Fox wants to go to. Could you imagine De'Aaron Fox, Jimmy Buckets, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis over there? Could you imagine that? I wouldn't be surprised if that happens because the Lakers always get their men.
Yeah, you look at a lot of those players that you listed too. A lot of these guys that have caused drama in the past with Kyrie Irving, with LeBron James. I think on him when it comes to like the other teams he was doing it with also had their own drama amidst that. The Timberwolves had their own drama amidst with Towns and Thibodeau at the time. The Sixers, forget it. They had all kinds of drama with Ben Simmons and all the coaches that they've had to fire over the years over there. And Jimmy Butler looked like a scapegoat, but now you're looking at a relationship that's been fractured since Miami got eliminated by the Celtics, and Pat Riley and Jimmy Butler, like Pat Riley wanted him to play in the playoffs, Jimmy Butler wanted him to play, or then there was a whole injury issue, so he didn't want to give him the extension. So I think that relationship's been fractured for a long time. So I think as a result, it's about time that he brings the drama on it, and I think he's not taking it to another level. It's inevitable he's going to be traded. And yeah, there's going to be a lot of teams that are going to take him on for less because he's not going to get the same value that he wants. Now, Pat Riley, being used to be with the Knicks, he'll probably try to be stingy with the Knicks as much as possible. Yeah, we've talked about James Dolan, so they're going to try to do that too. You mentioned OKC, I think that's a great spot. Two teams that were very interested in him in the past were Dallas and Golden State. One of those could be very interesting as well.
Dallas don't have the money, especially getting Klay Thompson, and they don't have nothing to trade.
I was going to say Dallas will probably have to trade some veteran depth to make that kind of thing work. And even so, is that going to be detrimental? Because that was the biggest thing they needed last year in the finals was a wing defender like that against the Celtics. But again, do they have the money to make it work? Golden State has to swap some contracts. Will they try to do something like that? But it's inevitable he's going to be traded at this point. I think the relationship is completely fractured.
Oh yeah, I mean it's done at this point too, and he wants a 3-year deal. And he's owed a bunch of money, as Manny pointed out in the chat. So thank you for that. But also too, like, what do you give a guy that's 35 years old? Obviously, we've seen age isn't really a number, as we've seen with what LeBron has been able to do, later in his 30s. But what do you give up for a guy in his mid going into his late 30s? What kind of deal do you give somebody like that? And obviously he's very productive, great defender. Still, I mean, obviously, averaging, almost 18 points a game, right?
And a lot more in the playoffs.
Right. And so it's not like he's not serviceable. He's more than serviceable. So, but also, in what capacity do you want to give away certain things to get him in that either system, or because is he going to be that guy at that point, right? Or is he going to just be a piece of the puzzle? And I think it'll be one of those things where he's going to have to find the best fit for him in the way he sees fit, and does he want to win? And is he going to get the length of the contract and what's owed to him at that point? Because he's going to get the money either way.
Yeah.
So what do you do? Do you take the years, or do you go to a team? Because they're going to trade him. It's just what he wants to do.
It'll probably be a shorter, like max or even super max if he becomes an all NBA player contract for whatever the next team is, whether it's the team they traded to.
Still a great player.
Yeah. And again, he's going to still get a lot of value because he's a tremendous playoff player. And for the most part, he's a really good culture guy.
Why not the Knicks? Send him to the Knicks and trade some of those other pieces around. That's what I've been hearing. I haven't heard much about the Lakers. I hope the Lakers send him back to Miami, to be honest, but send LeBron back to Miami.
Listen, I think the Knicks are a team, but what are the Knicks going to give up? Are they going to give up their depth? Now, Mitchell Robinson is a guy that the Knicks might be willing to move, but now you're going to go smaller. If you give up Mitchell Robinson, which I think Miami will definitely take, and probably McBride, I think that will get it done for Jimmy Buckets. You give up Mitchell Robinson, and because listen, they're not going to get much. You shaking your head, Fish, but that's what they're going to get. They're not going to get some superstar player from another organization. If the Lakers make a move, what are they trading? They have no depth. If OKC, they're not trading any of their top players. They're not giving away any of that, or they're not giving up any draft picks for Jimmy Butler, who's 36 years old. So the only thing you're really going to be able to get is you'll get a McBride and probably a Mitch Robinson. But is the Knicks willing to do that and lose the size in a Mitch Robinson to get back a guy like Jimmy Butler? Jimmy Butler could be the missing piece for the New York Knicks to win a championship. So if they think, or if Pat Riley thinks that's what they can get and that's the most they can get, I think the Knicks should make that trade.
That's what I read. And then the Memphis Grizzlies is the other team that is kind of under the radar to look to trade for him. I also think the Bucks, with that team that they have there, they could trade for him, and that'd be a good fit. But I don't think he's going to go to the Lakers. No chance, no shot.
Well, he's not going to the Knicks either because Pat Riley is just driving up the market. He will never trade with New York.
That's
It's
not
never
true.
going to happen.
That's not true.
It's not like a deal like this, though. And the Knicks
That's not
don't need
true.
this guy. This guy it plays a position. They have 3 guys already. You can
So
argue
what?
that play that exact same
So
position.
what?
They need a shooting guy off the bench. They need
Jimmy
a
Butler
center.
can't
They don't need
shoot.
another wing.
Jimmy Butler's
He's
one of
not
the
a
best shooters in the
sharpshooter.
playoffs. He's one of the best
Well,
shooters
look,
in the playoffs.
he's a 2-point shooter more than a 3-point shooter.
Oh, stop it.
And-
No, he's not. No, he's
No.
not. In the playoffs,
He can
I-
do
I-
all
you know
of
what?
it.
Hold on. In the last 3 seasons, not last year because he was hurt. The last 3 seasons before that, I think he was almost a 40% 3-point shooter in the playoffs. That to me is what the Knicks need. If you could get Jimmy Butler for McBride and Mitchell Robinson, you don't make that trade, then you could bring in a veterans minimum player. You can get somebody out off the market off a waiver wire. I think that's the move the Knicks go if you want to win a championship.
The only problem,
He is the poison that always kills the Celtics. He always hurts the Celtics. That's who you have to beat to get to the finals.
but the only problem with that, I
really
think he's a ball dominant person. So
That was
he's
my
not.
point.
Yeah, Jalen Brunson and him won't mesh well together. I don't think. I think the Knicks will look into doing it because it's a big splash, and the Knicks fans will be like, "Oh, here we go." But in the playoffs, he likes to have the ball in his hands. He likes to make the decisions, and he likes to drive to the hoop and
They'll
get
give
and
the hot
ones.
hands. They'll give the hot hands.
It's the Julius Randle problem. He's better than Julius Randle, but it's the same
Don't
problem.
even put
It's the
them
same
in
problem.
the same conversation.
Look, he's a lot better.
Julius
but
Randle?
Julius Randle was like a
Jimmy
high
Buckets?
usage rate guy.
Stop.
You know what I mean, though. It's not about their game. It's about the fact that they are ball dominant guys, and it didn't
So
work as well
what?
when they had that.
It doesn't matter.
There's only one ball on the court. You can't
So
have a
what?
guy
It
that
doesn't
needs the
matter.
ball in his hand.
Hold on one
Like,
second. Hold on
what
one
is he
second.
playing?
All right. So you say he's a ball dominant player. All right. And that's fine. You look at the Celtics last year. You're going to tell me Jason Tatum hasn't been a ball dominant player? But Jaylen Brown was the best player on the court in the finals. You play with the hot hand. Whoever's scoring, you give it to the hot player. That's basketball. And by the way, it's something that Tom Thibodeau has not done and only started doing last year. He's playing second-team players. If I were the Knicks, I would put OC on the bench, let him play, because you could play secondary. Josh Hart on the bench, because then you could play. You can cut the minimized time for Jalen Brunson, where he's only playing 35 minutes instead of 46, and that helps Jalen Brunson and a guy like all the different guys that they have on the coming off the bench. I think it makes more sense, and I'm going to tell you this right now: if the Knicks do this, 100% they're the favorite to come out of the East and probably win it all. I think Jimmy Butler is a great move. The Knicks need to win now. This is their chance. They have a window of 3 years. After that, the window's closed. Why did Jalen Brunson sign a 4-year deal, right? With obviously a player option on the 4th year. If the Knicks don't win in 3 years, what do you think Jalen Brunson's going to do? He's going to bail. And so is Karl Anthony Towns, who only has, 3 years left on that contract? They're all going to bail. And Tom Thibodeau just signed an extension for 3 years. It's done. So this is the time. Win the championship.
Remember, Jimmy Butler and Anthony Towns don't have the best relationship.
That's over. Jimmy Buckets.
I don't think the Knicks would have traded for Towns again if there was that kind of
Jimmy Bucket. By the way, and so everybody knows, Karl Anthony Towns had some problems with Mikal Bridges over the last 2 seasons too, and they're playing pretty good together. So I don't believe that. It's all about winning. If you're winning and you're making money, do you think these guys give a crap? Just go out there and play and win.
I mean, he called him a bitch to his face.
So,
and I don't think the Knicks
Are you really going to put Josh Hart on the bench, though?
Josh Hart will come off the bench. He's a good. He's still a good overall player. You play the hot hand.
I don't think you bring him off the bench.
First of all, Josh Hart, before he started for the Knicks, he was a 7th man off the bench.
Yeah,
he's really played very, very well for the Knicks. You're going to tell me right now you wouldn't start him? You wouldn't start Jimmy Butler over Josh Hart? Come on, what are you on drugs?
No, I don't think that upgrade is enough from Josh Hart to Jimmy Butler to warrant a trade like that. I looked it up. His playoff 3-point shooting is only 36%.
What are you talking about?
36% in the 3-point from the playoffs was his best mark. He had 34% the year before in 20 games.
Let's go to Jimmy Butler. Go to Jimmy Butler's playoff.
Josh
Go-
Hart's
But-
probably getting traded with that
I
trade.
want a two
No,
guard.
he's not.
I want a two guard that can shoot. That's all you need. A bench two guard that can shoot.
Who?
Like if Buddy Hield didn't suck, Buddy Hield. You know, like that type of like prototype of a player, like a shooter, like a Mitch Richmond back in the day, who was just
Oklahoma?
like money from three. There, well, I'm sorry, it wasn't Nebraska. I was close geographically. I tried,
Or Nebraska.
but
Or
I think that's all they need, and I think Mitch coming back is going to be enough. I really do. Look, he's only got to play half a season, Mitch. Look, long term, it's not Mitch, but for this year, half a year, can we get that out of him? And for the stretch run,
So
I
you're
think if they
telling
can
me
stay healthy with that,
you're a Nick fan, and we got to
okay.
go on to the next subject. Okay, you're telling me right now, if you had a choice between Mitch Robinson and McBride for Jimmy Buckets, you wouldn't do that. Are you telling me that? Is that what you're trying to sell to the Knicks fans? Please, let's hear this. I want to get this because this is a hot take. You're telling me right now, for Mitchell Robinson and McBride, you wouldn't trade him for Jimmy Buckets.
Is he going to play center?
Dude, this is a game. The NBA, it becomes a half-court game in the playoffs. That's what it becomes.
Like, you need to be able to match up.
Dude,
need to be
he's a
able to
great
match up with
defender. You have OC and him as they're top defenders. What are you talking about? These guys are the best in the league. What are you nuts?
Wemby will go like this,
Wemby,
just like reach
first of all,
over his
Wemby-
head.
Hold on. Wemby's not. They don't even have to worry about Wemby. Wemby's in the Western Conference? You don't have to worry about Wembanyama. They got to win. They got to beat OKC. They got to beat the other teams. Are you nuts? Have you lost your mind?
Yes,
Please.
I've been a Knicks
Knock,
fan
knock.
my
Who's
whole
there?
life. That's 40
Who's
years,
there?
almost 40
What's
years.
there over there? What are you
There's no
nuts?
way I'm saying.
You're nuts.
0%
You
chance.
lost it.
I am.
I've lost your Nick respect, my friend. I have lost it.
No,
I have
you
lost
can't
it.
say that.
I am losing it now.
This is genuine
How could
craziness.
You absolutely believe that you would keep Mitch Robinson and McBride for Jimmy Butler. You're nuts. That is
First
nuts.
off, there's no way they would get him for that. I think.
By the way,
But-
they're going to get him for
but-
less. They could get him for less because I don't think anybody's going to take on that
So,
craziness.
our
that
intern Manny
Pat
says
Riley
that
is
he
saying
would
that
have
he
to
is.
receive another $29 million in the trade for it to work financially.
Really?
So they
How?
have to have some kind of trade exception or a third
McBride's
team.
making $13
The
million.
salaries.
Hold on, McBride's
Yeah,
making
he's
13
making Jimmy's making 49.
Hold on, 13 million, and Mitch Robinson's making what? 15. So that's
So it's the trade differential.
right. So you
Yeah,
trade
so-
you trade another piece. I mean,
I-
there are the
I'm
players
just
that they can
trusting Manny's math right now. As far as
Why
that
not?
goes, I did not teach Manny in math. I believe him though, but I do think they're going to have a third team involved if they did it. But again,
So-
Riley's not trading with the Knicks, man. He's
Okay.
not.
I'm telling you, if he demands it, basketball, you know everything. You know how basketball works. If a basketball player says, I only want to go there, that's what they're going to have to do. And that's basketball. It's basketball. It's the only sport that these guys get what they want. I'm going there, and that's the only place I want to go. Screw you, and that's where I'm going. And that's where he's going to be. And everything that I've heard about Jimmy Butler, he's been wanting to be a Knick for a long, long time. So I agree with you, Owen. I wouldn't be surprised if you hear at the trade deadline that Jimmy Butler gets traded to the New York Knicks.
Yeah, but Jamie Lee in the comment section harping on it too. What's up with these crybaby NBA players, yo?
Well, it's basketball. It's all about crying. All they do, LeBron James teaches very, very well. So does Jamie. So does James Harden, by the way. By the way, Jamie Lee, one of your guys from the Rockets. I know you're a Rockets fan at one point. So Mr. Crybaby himself, who cries and travels every time he plays basketball. So that guy, I mean, he is the king. Him and LeBron James are the kings traveling with the ball.
And
They have changed the game because it's all about traveling. And by the way, Allen Iverson came out with a great take on that the other day. Allen, I would love to get Allen Iverson on this show. Allen Iverson is an unbelievable personality. What he said about LeBron James, oh my God, it was so funny. He said that if LeBron James played in the 90s with some of the players in the 90s, he would get his ass beat. They would flat him on his ass, and Shaq would have smacked him. So It's so funny. It is the funniest thing when you read some of the things that Allen Iverson has said. I love Allen. AI is the best. He's one of my favorite players.
And yeah, we had somebody that said that James Harden was better. Yikes.
Yeah, get out of here. Get out of here. Eric Coleman. We can name him.
Who the hell said
Eric
Coleman.
better? Get out of here.
Eric Coleman.
No chance.
Oh, well, you tell that to him. I mean, he's right now, winning Emmy Awards on MSC. I love you, Eric. I love you, man. I absolutely love you. But that take is
saying James Harden's better than AI. Like, go. What?
That's what he said. He takes James Harden.
Whatever you're taking, like, don't give to anybody else because that's not the stuff.
He's hanging out with Aaron Rodgers.
What did he say that? Like, oh, he has all these triple doubles. Like his stats versus he had better counting stats because he just like hogged the ball at like the greatest rate in the history of basketball. He's like those are the years. Harden and Westbrook had the ball for like 50% of the time.
Seen him without a beard, it's like grotesque.
Yes,
he looks like a baby's ass. You know what I mean?
Oh.
He does. He looks like a baby's.
And
ass.
then he got some money, got his teeth fixed because his chompers were rough.
Oh yeah, he does. He's got some chompers. I mean, that's because he dated one of the Kardashians. Somebody's like munching on some cheesemo, right, Speedy?
Well, he needed to munch on something to gain all the weight he gained when he was with the Nets.
Some hair and you got to use some some floss, right?
I don't know if hair would be that fattening, but I'm putting the big three Brooklyn Nets. Or as we called it on the Weekend Crunch, the Barclays Circus.
That's right. I gave the Nets that slogan, the Barclays Circus, and actually Speedy actually put a graphic together. It was actually pretty funny. So Speedy put up a graphic that was pretty funny. NBA insider Chris Haynes reports that the Suns are benching both Nurkic and Bradley Beal after losing 7 out of the 8 games. Beal is averaging 17.8 points per game, his lowest since 2015 and 16 season. Nurkic is averaging 8.8 points per game, his lowest since 2016 and 17. The Suns have been outscored by 13.4 points per game with those two players on the floor. The Suns reached out to the Heat about including Beal in a potential Jimmy Butler trade, but Pat Riley wanted nothing to do with Beal's no trade clause. Those two players plus Kevin Durant and Devin Booker represents 77.5% of the Suns' salary cap and 120% of the Suns' future cap space. The Suns are currently 15-18, 2 games out of the last playoff spot in the Western Conference. Now, I will say this for all you Suns fans out there. This team is going to fall flat on their ass. And we're going to hear in the next, I would predict, about 3 weeks that somebody is going to want his ass out of there. And that is Kevin Durant. I'm telling you right now, I'm giving it 3 weeks. And Kevin Durant is going to be crying on social media, his 7 Twitter accounts. And he's going to go out there and he is going to throw the Suns organization under the bus. This organization has been an absolute debacle. They are the Nets in the Western Conference. They have made too many deals. This team was one of the best teams in the NBA. What was it, 4 years ago? With Chris Paul and all the talent that they had. They traded Mikal Bridges for Kevin friggin' Durant. Mikal Bridges right now, look what he's doing for the New York Knicks. I mean, it's embarrassing. It is absolutely embarrassing. Now, I'm not taking away what Kevin Durant is and what he's been as a player. He's a great player. He still is. But he is a cancer. He has not won a championship since the Golden State Warriors. He had to play with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Draymond Green in the primes of their career. To me, he is a cancer. And there's a lot of these guys. Kyrie Irving, when he played over there, James Harden, those are 3 cancers playing on one team. I feel bad for Devin Booker. I really do. Because Devin Booker is a great player, and he's never going to win a championship over there in the Suns. This is New York Knicks-esque, what the Suns are really transitioned into. The Knicks have found a way because they brought in a guy that was, an agent, and every Knicks fan was crying and doing all this stuff. This guy's going to suck. He has done nothing but wonders for the New York Knicks. I think right now the Suns need to rebuild. I think they need to trade away Devin Booker. He is the biggest and the most important player to that organization. They need to rebuild. You can get a significant overload for a guy like Devin Booker. You're talking about 5 to 6 first-round draft. If the Knicks can get Mikal Bridges for 5 first-round draft picks, you're going to get top-end draft picks, a.k.a. OKC. OKC, listen to me. Go after Devin Booker. That is a championship already. Yeah, that's a mailing point right there. That's a present. Go after Devin Booker. I think the Suns need to rebuild. It's over for them. They should have never traded away the pieces that they did.
No, and then you look at the Suns, the way they built, too. They built a lot with a lot of these middle-round picks that ended up hitting, including Devin Booker. Devin Booker was a bench player at Kentucky, ended up getting drafted 13th overall, becomes a star. And then besides DeAndre Ayton, look at the rest of the core that they built on that team that went to the finals was pretty much all homegrown with these middle round picks. Mikal Bridges, middle round pick. Cam Johnson, that was a first round pick the next year, fell in the draft to number 11. And then they traded all that depth away to try to take in an outdated concept of these big threes that in today's era, besides the Lakers, in today's era of basketball has not worked. It's now where you want to build with 2 players and like 2 stars, and then you have good depth around you and balanced depth around you. The Suns don't have size now outside Durant, who's an older player, so he's not going to defend at the same level anymore. They don't have a pure point guard, so they're playing all this isolation basketball. Mike Budenholzer goes over there. They're better than they were last year, I suppose, but how much better? And they're an obvious identity now. It's an outdated concept to try to get all these older players together. And you mentioned all these players whining. It's a lot of that generation that's whining, the Kevin Durant, LeBron generation that's whining. And then you have 2 of those on the same team with LeBron or with Durant and Bradley Beal. So it's a combination that was doomed to fail. I gave it one more chance last year because of the scoring problem.
I never gave it a chance.
Not to win a championship, because I thought they would win the year before. I picked them to win the year before when Denver won. I thought they would redeem themselves after losing in the playoffs with a 67-win team. But once they traded for Beal, there's no way this is a championship team. There's no defense and there's no size in this team and there's 0 depth.
Yeah, no depth, no size, and you just Booker signed the extension in 2022.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so next year he's going to be owed $53 million. I think he's making almost 50 this year.
Well worth it, by the way. He's a great player.
No, I'm not disagreeing.
Playoff player too.
Yeah, and he's proven it, but also at this point is this, and like we've talked about with certain things in other sports, is this one leg out the door to get me the hell out of here type of thing? To where it's okay, well, strike while the match is hot and I can get a lot for me. Where I might as well open the car door and get myself out. And it, when you're replacing 2 guys like that, and this obviously according to Chris Haynes, who's a longtime reporter, and you're replacing with Ryan Dunn and Mason Plumlee, and it's now that creates tension in the locker room. And when you lose a locker room, we have all seen what happens. So I think this is just one of those things where I don't think they've put enough into it where Devin Booker feels like they're going to win. So he's get me out of here. Somebody will take that contract 100%. And it wouldn't be hard to do. Yeah. But you're going to get a lot in return. Mm-hmm. So, and yeah, and the Suns have been trying to do anything. You see what the owner did. He lowered all the prices to $2 for everything in the concession stand to try to get people in the stands and get all those things. And we've all heard Chuck talk about how terrible the concessions are for the Suns. But I just think I think that the foot's out the door. But we've also talked about it as well. Who's to blame in this aspect? Yeah, you lose 7 of 8, right? It happens. But who's the blame going to be put on? And
Kevin Durant. 100%.
And that's fine. But also at the same time, it's well, if this ain't going to be it, then get me out of here, because it ain't working.
Yeah, I think they're going to blow up the whole team. Get rid of Kevin Durant. He probably wants out already. I wouldn't be surprised if the
3 weeks. 3 weeks.
Next couple of days, you'll hear rumors, though. You'll be like, oh, Kevin Durant's unhappy. Oh, somebody tweeted this and he clapped back at him.
Yeah, his burner counts.
I mean, but they could get younger off that aspect. Like, what if Kevin Durant wants to go back to the Warriors to play with Steph and Draymond and Kuminga, all those younger guys for the Warriors get traded in that and they get reunited. Like, they could get younger, they could get some picks. And then Devin Booker, I'd like to see him with someone like the Spurs, a young Wembanyama with Devin Booker. I think that'd be fun to watch. So, and the Spurs don't really need draft picks if they have the generational talent that they think Wembanyama
Oh,
is.
stop with the.
I'm just saying.
You hate Wembanyama.
I don't think he's as good as everybody says he is. He's not Michael Jordan. Stop it. I'm so tired of people saying he's the
Not
greatest
saying
player of all time.
Yeah, but that was mostly
Le Michel Jordan.
Give me a break. When he wins a championship, then we'll talk. That guy hasn't won anything. What the hell are you talking about?
He's been in the league, what, 2 years?
It doesn't matter. He hasn't even won a series in the playoffs. And everybody's still talking about, oh, he's Michael Jordan. He's better going to be better than Michael Jordan. Yeah, he's averaging 23 rebounds a game. Great. What is it, 14 blocks? Good for him. He's 7'6", and he's a stilt, okay? Of course he's going to get that. I'm tired of it. And he's not Tim Duncan. And he came out and took shots at his old Tim Duncan. If I was Greg Popovich, I'd tell him to shut the hell up. At least Tim Duncan won 5 titles. Give me a break.
I mean, his average is 25 and 10, though.
Oh, God.
That's pretty amazing. I'll say this. Sean Bradley was 7'6", and he didn't average no 25 and 10.
25 and 10 is not as great as you think.
2015 or whatever.
Really
he's doing.
Hey, but God rest his soul, by the way.
That's true. That's true.
He got killed.
I got to talk about these two guys that got benched, though, because Bradley, this is why it didn't work. And Speedy's absolutely right. You said earlier the big three model is outdated. And it's outdated because if one of those big three falls apart, like Bradley Beal has, you're completely screwed because you can't trade that contract. So now instead of having 3 great guys, you have a huge albatross and you can't surround your 2 great guys with anyone worth a damn. And Bradley Beal has only played 23 games coming off an injury, and he's 20th worst in plus minus in the entire NBA this whole season. He's so bad they can't put him on the court against starters, anyone that's worth, at all that can play any offense or defense. He used to be a little better defensively. It slipped some. Offensively, he's shooting 4% less. They can't play him. He came off the bench, 30 minutes, had a good game tonight, 25 points, played well, shot well, trying to respond. But can he do it again the next game? And the next game, can he do it against a team that's not the crappy Sixers without Embiid? Because that's the only team they just beat. This is they're screwed. And Nurkic, this is the one that makes me even crazier, is that they thought, let's just give up on DeAndre Ayton. We can make it work with Jusuf Nurkic at center. The guy coming, who had a couple of good years 6 years ago, a couple of good years, but had a horrible broken leg that he's never fully come back from, I would argue. Another one of those guys just slower and can't do it against good competition anymore. So they're screwed, and they had a team. Errol, you said at the beginning they had a squad.
They had Mikal Bridges, who they traded away for Kevin Durant. The Knicks gave up 5 first-round draft picks for Mikal Bridges, and look what he's doing for the Knicks right now. He's laughing. This is funny. This is a joke. That the Suns are a stupid organization. I've been saying about the New York Knicks how stupid they've been, even since Donnie Walsh. This team must be the dumbest organization in the NBA. They're so bad. This is the worst organization in the NBA. And there's a lot of bad ones. And by the way, I know Scoop said something about Williamson. Please, that guy can't stay healthy. Keep him away from my team. I do not want him. I do not want Zion Williamson in New York. That guy, if he hurts his toe, he's out for the season. It's ridiculous.
You're destroying Charles Barkley's.
I mean, he stubbed his ball sack. He's out for the season. I mean, seriously.
He's got to go somewhere where the food is bad,
joke.
like where they have bad food.
What a joke, man.
Because
what a
that's
joke.
his problem, man.
Please.
Go trade him in an English basketball league.
Pelicans, please.
He's one of those ones where like you expected him to be great, and then did he rest on his laurels, or did he really not care that much about the game? Because like it feels like when you get to that point, like he didn't put anything into his craft, right? Like he just didn't care. Like you've all seen the clip of when he's trying to come back from whatever it was, his ankle or whatever it was, and Charles and them are talking. He's like, "Looks like me and Shaq had a baby," and it's like, dude, at some point you either have to look yourself in the mirror and wake up. Like I think he's a great talent. I think he is, but we've yet to see it. There's been glimpses of it. But I just hate seeing athletes that literally just rest on their laurels, where they don't want to work, they don't want to get better, and it just sucks for the game, and I don't like it. But that's just me personally.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we do this every single week. It's a game show, ladies and gentlemen, and we have Tic-Tac-No.
Morris, right in the butt. What? We get the prizes cheap because they're stolen.
No. Now here's your host, the Tick himself, Owen the Tick Reckner.
All right, guys, you ready for this round?
Yes.
Are you making it hard this week or not?
Listen, I got some hard ones in here.
How hard?
I mean, you'll have to see if you know them. I mean, you guys gang up on me, and then
Very
Speedy
hard.
randomly
Nice
comes
and
up.
long and thick and hard.
Speedy comes out with shit
Speedy, bring
stuff out of
those
his
two
ass.
things, by
You
the
know. All right, first one. Since the Chiefs came out with their second string, what is the name of Chiefs Carson Steele's their backup running backs pet alligator?
Pet alligator?
He has a pet alligator.
I saw the story on that, but
Is he from Florida, I'm assuming?
I honestly don't know where he's from. I
Irwin.
think
Speedy says Irwin.
it's not Irwin. No.
It's a good guess.
You said this is Wentz's alligator?
What was the crocodile
Austin
hunter's
Beal, the
name?
backup running back for the Chiefs.
Steve Irwin.
It's not that.
All right.
I'm gonna go in front of you, Fish. I'm gonna go Chester.
How about Dundee?
Ooh, that was a good guess, but no.
Swallowed.
I'm gonna say Troy.
Wait. Scoops, you got nothing?
Kermit.
They literally talked about it every Chiefs game, but it's Crocky J. Crocky J.
Crocky
Oh, Crocky J.
What a name. What a name.
He's a 6-foot alligator right now. His dad bought it for him as a present.
I had no
Happy
shot.
birthday.
I heard the story, but I had no shot.
You keep those things as a pet? That even safe?
Yeah, you can.
I guess.
All right, Owen, where are you going?
We'll go top left.
Top left. Here we go.
Perfect.
All right, you're starting off hot. All right, let's go, Dick.
All right. Who has the most shots taken without a make in an NBA game?
Who has the most shots
taken without a make? Without making one.
This year?
No, just in history.
I think I know this one. I'm going to answer. I'm going to say Klay Thompson.
That is not right.
Damn.
Ben Wallace.
No. Because he gets some dunks and stuff. This one surprised me, actually.
This is a tough one.
How about your other warrior last year, Jordan Poole, ex-warrior?
No.
Ooh.
Nope.
All right, I'll go before you, Errol. I'm assuming this was done just to troll me, so I'm assuming he's a former Knick. I'm going to say Stephon Marbury.
Not him. Remember him on the game Ballers? The game was dope.
I bought a pair of Starberries for $1.60.
I do remember bowlers.
You'd have the big chains.
I do remember bowlers. That's a fun game.
The Starberries?
They were going out of business, whatever store he sold them in, and I walked
By the way, those things broke. Every time I played basketball with those things, the soles would come off. That's what, and I would buy
they
them
were
for like
$5 sneakers, dude.
For $1. You know, so
definitely made by like 6-year-olds in China somewhere. 100%.
I'm going to take a guess on this, and
his biggest fans later on.
I think he's got all the NBA records. So Or he almost has all of them. I'm going to go with LeBron James.
No, the answer is Tim Hardaway. He went 0 for 17 in a
Oh,
game.
friend of the show.
He went 0 for 17 in a game.
All right. So then we're 0 for 2 tonight.
We got the Warriors.
All right, Owen.
We have to go that far back.
We'll go middle. That gives me options.
All right, so you're going middle.
Yep.
For the options.
He's talking out the runs us.
All right.
Yeah, duh.
All right, we're in trouble, guys. We need to fight back.
I don't think we've
Right.
ever been down 0-2.
All right.
No, I don't think so either.
Here's one that Speedy probably will know. What is the only NFL team that has had a quarterback that's thrown for 4,000 yards?
The Bears.
Correct.
All right, I'll block him.
And by the way, the Jets have only had one.
Yeah, it's just one.
All right, Speedy, where you going?
I'm blocking up.
He's going for the block.
He's going for the block.
Look at that big head.
Oh yeah, look at that. There it is.
Look at that noggin.
With
Look
the,
at that noggin.
cut the Nebraska sign in half.
All right, we
As you call
blocked
it
you,
in the
Owen.
interview, Oklahoma.
That Fu Manchu.
All right. Let's throw a little hockey in here. Who has the most goals scored by a defenseman in the NHL in a regular season?
In history?
In one season?
Yeah.
I have
What's his name?
two.
From Boston.
Bobby Orr.
No.
Bobby Orr would
No.
be my guess.
No,
Bobby Orr's not it.
it is not it.
I'm gonna guess this. I think it just happened recently. Wasn't it Eric Carlson? Or Eric Carlson one of the years recently?
No. It was. I think it was right. Was it Paul Coffey?
That is right. With 48.
Wow.
Yeah, it was the year I was born. It was like
I was going to
85,
say
86.
Nicholas Lindstrom. That's what I was going to say. But
So Paul Coffey had
Good guess.
48. Orr was second with 46, and then Coffey had third with 40. So he has two.
All right,
other ones.
Jabba. Where are we going?
I'm gonna go. I gotta go top right, don't I?
I mean, you can do whatever you want. It's a free country.
is it?
All right.
I only know those weird ones because it's like my birth year.
All right. Here's a good one. What is the weirdest event ever held in an Olympics?
Oh, we just watched it. Breakdancing.
I know. This one's even weirder.
What?
Well, in the original Olympics in ancient Greece, they did all of the events naked. So that would have been
That's pretty weird. But that was natural back then. So
And there was the unmarried women's race, just so you know, as well. That was the actual name of it.
this is pre-Greece, or this is after Greece. I'm sorry.
Pre.
I meant after. Sorry.
This is the aliens that left the pyramids in Goody.
Yes, Frankie Goody's Orlando baseball team.
So what was the question again?
What is the weirdest event? Well, they've called it the weirdest event to be ever hosted or played.
I'm
at an
going to tell
Olympic
you
Games.
this. I know the answer because Mike Tyson talks about it.
Wait,
Okay,
can
what's
we,
the answer?
Can we get a winter or summer Olympics?
I didn't. I would
It's
assume
summer.
summer. I would assume summer.
Summer is like
It's
5
summer.
more
I know
sports.
the answer to this because Mike Tyson talks about it.
All right,
Well,
what's
then
your
say
what's,
Pigeon shooting.
yeah, live pigeons shooting in 1900s in Paris.
Mike Tyson talks about it all the time.
Well, yeah,
He's a-
because he has a.
He's a pigeon lover, so he talks about it all the time.
All right, Errol.
I'm a Mike Tyson fan, so Mike Tyson talks about it all the time. So I know that. So
It looks like we win.
Those are some crazy questions that I ask, and you guys just between one of you, you'll get it.
listen. So you guys know, Mike Tyson does a lot of interviews, and he has a podcast. And Mike Tyson talks about when the Olympics was going on. Mike Tyson was talking about, crazy different things that the Olympics have held over the years. And he talked about pigeons because he's a pigeon collector. He collects pigeons. And he said, do you believe that they actually did live pigeon shooting? in the Olympics. And he was talking about it, and he was smoking weed. He was getting so high about it, and he was getting so angry about it because he saves pigeons and he treats them
famously
like they're cats.
Well, I knew the pigeon thing. I didn't. I mean, obviously, I don't listen to his podcast, so I didn't.
I do. I love Mike Tyson. I absolutely love Mike Tyson. I love everything about what he does. By the way, his edibles, the ears, the Holyfield ears, have sold more in the last 2 years than any edible. So Mike Tyson's
Wait, they're called Holyfield ears.
It's literally the shape of an ear.
Yes.
What great marketing! What a marketer! He's a better marketer than a fighter, maybe. That's incredible.
He's not stupid.
That's funny.
That's brilliant.
He's listen, man. Mike Tyson.
So are we supposed to believe when he bit Evander's ear, it was to get high?
No.
In the middle of the fight?
I do not believe that's what he was trying to do. But guess what? If that's what he was thinking, maybe we should all try to bite somebody's ear off.
I mean,
Speedy, come over here. I'm gonna bite some ears.
No, wait.
you gonna tell Mike he's wrong?
No, this will be the perfect Kenny scenario. Kenny would chase a goose and then bite its ear off.
No, Kenny would chase a goose and try to jump on top of him and ride him. That's what he would do.
One day, I would love to see Speedy interview Mike Tyson. That would be the greatest interview of all time.
I don't know how that would work with Speedy and Mike Tyson. Speedy, what would you need?
Irrelevant.
Irrelevant.
Can't even find that.
Oh man. Anyways, let's go to a quick break. When we come back, we got a couple more things to go. We got the whip around and what's that smell? But first, our Sports Minute with Tommy Scoops.
This is the Jabba and the Mouth Sports Minute.
Well, all right. You already know the scoop with another Sports Minute and with some more NFL. The Cowboys owner, Jerry Jones, could be changing head coaches. However, he already announced that he will not be relinquishing the GM title after the team lost against the Commanders yesterday. Jones made it very clear that he will be remaining as the team's GM. And in other NFL news, the Chargers are actually going to be signing veteran running back Ezekiel Elliott as LA adds to their running back depth for their playoff game against the Texans this Saturday. And once again, finishing up over in the NBA, the Lakers are actively shopping for a big man. And having searched already multiple teams, the team might be landing on Wizards' Jonas Valanciunas as possible upgrade to LA. Now, keeping it with the NBA still, over in Scoops and Scores, in the first quarter, the Heat have a 28-23 lead over the Kings, while in the NHL, the Panthers and Avalanche are currently tied with one apiece with the second period almost over. The Devils and Kraken are also tied with one apiece with the first period almost over. And that is currently all the time I have for you guys right now. Kicking it back to the boys for the continuation of Jabba and the Mouth.
Any questions?
What is this? We're back. This is the Jabba and the Mouth Show.
631-672-3108 is the number to call. You're listening to Jabba and the Mouth. I'm your host, Errol Marks, my co-host, Jabba Chamberlain and Speedy Petey. Go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out all our shows throughout the week, including Jabba and the Mouth, every single Mondays and Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. All you have to do to tune in and check out our local listings for all our shows is go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. I know everybody thought I forgot about this, but I didn't. I wanted to pick the perfect time to do this. Our show is brought to you by, ladies and gentlemen, Ice Shaker. It's a wonderful item. As you can see, we all have one. It's beautiful. It's sexy. Speedy, yours is like...
Speedy, why is yours disappearing?
I have no idea why it's disappearing.
Find a sweet spot.
He's got to find a sweet spot.
You're not wearing green, so why is it disappearing?
He's got to find
bullshit. Don't want to think about it.
Founded by former NFL fullback Chris Gronkowski, Ice Shaker was developed with one goal in mind: to help people live an active and healthy lifestyle by providing them with the ultimate drinking vessel for their nutrition and hydration needs. Ladies and gentlemen, if you go to iceshaker.com and shop all of their official license connections from Marvel to Star Wars and so much more. Enjoy free shipping when you spend $75 or more. Go to iceshaker.com to check out all their great products and deals. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got them and showing them off. They're delicious. They can spin. Speedy, we spin them, right? We spin them. Speed. Oh, I'm hitting things now. Is mine leaking? I don't know what's going on with this thing today. It's probably me.
Is your lid on tight enough?
I don't think so. I think my lid is, unloosened, if you know what I mean. Speedy, you know all about unloosening the lid, right? You don't know about loosening a lid? How about lids being loosened?
It has to be taken
Isn't
off.
that the same thing?
To pour something in there.
All right, well, what would you like to pour in there?
I have water in there right now.
Do you have anything else in there?
No.
Have you ever squeezed anything? No. You ever pull on anything?
No.
You ever punched anything?
I wouldn't do that to Chris's product.
Somebody's doing it. That's for sure.
Okay, let that be their problem.
I only go iced tea in mine.
Well, I can't have iced tea because it's the number one thing you cannot drink when you have kidney stones. My doctor told me that, so I cannot drink iced tea. I don't know if anybody knows that. Hey, that could be a nice Owen thing. So there you go, Owen, for Tic-Tac-No. If you drink iced tea, it causes more chances for you to get kidney stones. So I cannot drink iced tea anymore. So there you go. Anyways, all right, ladies and gentlemen, we do this every single week. The last week of Whip Around.
Whip around.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be quick because there's a lot, and I know Fish has put a lot of work into this, so we're going to go and we're going to do this nice and easy.
All right, Ravens over the Browns 35 times.
It's pretty simple. The Ravens and Lamar Jackson. Well, I got to give Lamar Jackson a lot of credit. I'll give one person a lot of credit for his thoughts to think that he was the MVP. I do believe he deserves a lot of MVP consideration. I don't think he's the MVP. Lamar Jackson, 16 for 32, 217 yards, 2 touchdowns. Derrick Henry, explosive, 20 carries, 138 yards, 2 touchdowns. And by the way, Derrick Henry didn't take off until the second quarter, and then he just exploded. Lamar Jackson, 9 carries for 63 yards. The Browns stink. I don't have to say anything. Bailey Zappi, absolutely horrendous. Anybody that throws an interception ball to a defensive lineman that weighs over almost 400 pounds, that's despicable. It was disgusting, horrible to watch.
You're muted.
These games are hard just because when it gets to that point. But yeah, I mean, you knew what to expect and what was going into it. So, I mean, it's not really much to talk about. Obviously, Derrick Henry was Derrick Henry. Lamar Jackson did what he did. And the Browns suck. So that's really about it.
All right, Bengals knock off the Steelers 19-17.
Well, congratulations to a great season for Joe Burrow, but they fell short. That's all I'm going to say. Joe Burrow should be up for the conversation MVP, but his team didn't make the playoffs, and that says a lot about what his team is. 37 for 46, 277 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. They had no running game. Really, it was up and down all season, but Khalil Herbert, 20 carries, 69 yards. Jamar Chase, again, great season, 10 receptions, 96 yards, 1 touchdown. Gesicki, 8 receptions, 68 yards, and Higgins is probably going to be playing for another team next year. I don't think they're going to be able to afford him. Congratulations to the Pittsburgh Steelers on making the playoffs and losing in the first round. Congratulations to them. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah, and Bengals put themselves in that situation when you have to put your future in other people's hands and winning and losing and whatever. It sucks. Congratulations to Jamar Chase for winning the Triple Crown first time since Cooper Kupp in 2021. And obviously very, very deserving. And, you know, it's just one of those things. If you don't win enough and you have to rely on everybody else, you don't have anybody else to blame but yourself. And that's it.
All right, Eagles knock off the Giants 2013.
Well, what could I say? Well, I could say a lot of things, and for you Giant fans, well, I can't say much. The Giants are completely a laughing stock, but hey, they got the 3rd pick in the first round, so nothing said about that. But I got to give Saquon Barkley a lot of credit for not playing in this game. It's all about the playoffs. He could have broken the record. I know everybody's coming out and saying, well, he's playing in 1 extra game. and Dickerson did it in 16 games, he still would have broken the record. It's a sensational year for, to me, one of the most explosive players I've seen at that position since Barry Sanders. Congratulations to the Eagles. Very well-deserved season, 14-3, great year. I think they're the favorites coming out of the NFC.
Oh, coming out of the NFC, like in literally with Saquon. Saquon showed me a lot, not only talent-wise, but just in the fact that he could literally break records. But he was like, nope, get these other guys playing time, and like it doesn't matter. Like I don't know the guy, I don't know it, but his character shows so much, and that just shows, how much of a great player he is, and that just I love seeing those things. And I mean, I can't help but root for him, and I want to see him do special things again. Like he's just a different dude, and he doesn't act like he is. I bet if you went and saw him on the bodega on the corner, he'd be like, give me a bacon, egg, and cheese,
All right, the Panthers knock off the Falcons, knock them out of the playoffs, 44-38.
Well, I'm not surprised. I know everybody likes this Michael Penix kid. I think you put a lot of pressure on this kid. I think it was a stupid move for the organization to do that. I would have kept Kirk Cousins in. I know he hasn't had a very good season, but I think he would have had a better chance with Kirk Cousins getting that win. Bryce Young really has played better in the second half. His last 4 or 5 games of the season, I think Canales has gotten to him. I still think Bryce Young will probably be on his way out. I think they're going to move him in the offseason. I got to give a lot of credit to this Panther team. They didn't give up all season long, and the Falcons, to me, I know everybody's going to say, look at Michael Penix's numbers. You played the Panthers defense. I mean, it's nothing to brag about. Even though their defense has played better in the second half, it's nothing to sneeze about. And Bijan Robinson, a beast. 28 carries, 170 yards, 2 touchdowns. One of the best running backs in the league. And Drake London, 10 receptions, 187 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Maybe that 1-2 combo will look good in the future.
Yeah, it's not going to look terrible. But like we talked about, too, when we had Ovi on, too, it's like if you're going to put Penix in at this point, like why didn't you do it earlier? I think you still had the same amount of chance of with Kirk, and granted he didn't have obviously a great year, but you just put him in a bad spot, and obviously he is playing the Panthers D, which it obviously showed. But yeah, I mean, Bijan's been Bijan all year, and he's been fun to watch, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes.
The Commanders winning against the Cowboys 23-19, lock up the 6th seed.
I'm happy. I want to see. I think that's one of the most fun games to watch, the Buccaneers and the Commanders in the wild card weekend. I think it's going to be fun to watch. And Baker Mayfield versus Jaden Daniels. But listen, Jaden Daniels deserves a lot of credit. He will win Rookie of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year. He's had a sensational year. Him and Bo Nix were sensational as quarterbacks. But hey, listen, Trey Lance finally played in a game. So he finally threw over 200 yards in a game. So congratulations to the 49ers for drafting him.
And he's ready to pick you for franchise quarterback.
I just think this is pathetic. Honestly, absolutely. Goodbye is right. I'm done. There's nothing else about this game. Just an absolute joke. And why wouldn't Cooper Rush play? It's Cooper Rush. He's a second-string quarterback. Play hurt. You're trying to get a job in the offseason.
They needed to dupe the beef into thinking he's a franchise quarterback.
Oh, please. What a ridiculous thing. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, we'll get on the Cooper Rush thing here later, but yeah, this really wasn't nothing to be talked about. I you watch it and it's like at the end of the day you're like looking at certain guys and you're like, who the hell is in the game right now? And that was really kind of what this game was. So yeah, there's not much to be said.
All right, the drought is finally over. The Bears upsetting the Packers 24-22.
I think the Bears are a team. If I'm a coach, I want that job. I think Caleb Williams is going to be a great quarterback in this league. His numbers are not far from Jaden Daniels, and he had a lot of questions when it comes to the coaching staff. The fact is, right now, I think, to me, it didn't matter if they won or lost. Jordan Love, I wouldn't have even started Jordan Love. I would have protected him. I don't want to put him in harm's way. This game meant nothing if they won or lost. So congratulations to the Bears winning a game against a second-string quarterback that Malik Willis. Congratulations. So,
Well, no, that's the hard part about these games. It's like they're sometimes hard to watch because it's like, what does this game matter to us? Like, I don't want to get anybody hurt, so why do we play them, or do we play them first half? Do we play them first quarter? What it is? So some of these games are really hard to watch just because you see what they're trying to do and what they're not trying to do, and it's just hard to watch sometimes. And it's like, yeah, you won the game, but really at the end of the day, who cares?
Texans 23-14 over the Titans.
What could I say? I mean, the Titans clinch the division. Congratulations to them. Big whoop. They're in the worst division in football again, and now kind of flip-flop. It used to be Indianapolis, then it was the Jaguars, and now, ladies and gentlemen, it is the Texans. Congratulations to them. C.J. Stroud had a good season, not the best season. I would never have started him in this game. You put him in harm's way. It's stupid. This game, win or lose, it didn't really matter. They won the division. Another game that meant nothing. And the Titans, who had a very good defense, they were second-best defense all around in football all season long. Congratulations to them. I think they found themselves a coach. They had some offense. They had some at a quarterback. They could be very, very dangerous.
Well, that's what you said earlier, too. It's like, what does it matter if the defense if you can't score? But I agree. Like, these guys in certain instances shouldn't play because there's, give them more time to rest because, you're going through a car crash every week when you play this game. So I wouldn't even have started them at that point. So, but yeah, this game didn't really mean anything. They were already locked in. So,
bye-bye, Will Levis, by the way. Yeah. Goodbye. Bye. Bye-bye.
Colts 26-23 over the Jags.
There's really nothing else to talk about this either. I mean, I think that was all of us saying about Shane Steichen. I like Shane Steichen. He deserves another chance. I think Richardson's done. I do not keep Richardson as my starting quarterback. I start hunting in the draft for a Hughes or somebody like that in the second round, and go after somebody like that and take a flyer on one of those guys. I honestly, Joe Flacco, congratulations to him. This guy, is he ever going to leave the football, or leave NFL, or leave the game of football? How old is he? 80 years old? I mean, seriously, this guy, he retires, he comes back, he retires again, he comes back. The guy never, he never ceases to amaze me. And he's still, it's unbelievable. He still throws over 200-something yards. I mean, the guy's unbelievable.
The Jets or Browns will bring him back next year.
Please.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's 39, so. But, yeah.
That's an old man when it comes to football.
Oh, I mean, that's an old man in
general. But an old man in football. So.
Well, I feel the same way. But, yeah, there was really nothing in this. Like, he's going to come back somewhere, but, I mean, this game really did not matter either way. So those are tough to watch when it gets to this time of the year.
Everything was tough to watch.
Yeah, I mean, there was maybe two that were interesting, but, yeah, I mean, we can touch on them all, but, like, yards and numbers don't matter. Like, we'll get to the Bucks, and that's the one. You had guys that it means a lot to them incentive-wise, right? Because they need to get to certain things and whatever. So, but yeah, this one I really didn't give two licks about.
All right, the Patriots win Jerome Mayo's final game as a head coach, 23-16.
Well, congratulations to the Patriots that have no wide receivers. Yes, Jeff, if you're listening, I don't want to hear about your secondary and third-dairy wide receivers. They freaking stink. They've got no wide receivers, and how they scored the way they did in this game just speaks volume of what the Bills better not do in the playoffs if they expect to win. But, I mean, the Bills didn't really play any of their starters. I mean, the Bills didn't need anything. So they didn't need to win this thing. They won the division, and they're still going to be in the same spot that they were going to be in. So nothing really to talk about with this. Just a horrible game to watch.
Yep, nothing to be said. It was they were in no matter what, so that's why they didn't play anybody. So
horrible.
All right, now time for your Buccaneers, Jabba. They do up winning 27-19.
The Buccaneers. Well, congratulations to Baker Mayfield. He had a sensational year. He should be up for an MVP conversation. I do believe the Buccaneers could be very, very scary if they can get through Washington. I think it could surprise a lot of people and knock off one of these top teams. Baker has had a great year, 21 for 32, 221 yards, and 2 touchdowns and 1 interception. And they were down practically the whole game until really the end of the third quarter. Yeah, it was, to me, it was back and forth. I was surprised that the Saints kept this game. And by the way, Spencer Rattler, you stink, okay? I don't want to hear it from anybody. If anybody thinks this guy is the future of this organization, you guys are on drugs. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah, no, and congratulations to Mike Evans to joining Jerry Rice. 11 years with 1,000 yards and doing what he did, and hopefully he takes Baker Mayfield out because he just got a $3 million incentive on that catch at the end of the game. So, yeah, no, I think they're dangerous because I feel like they just have like a vibe of like, hey, you guys don't think we're good, and I lost some guys, and Baker has something to prove. That's not a team you want to play going into the playoffs that have like an FU mentality to where it's like, you know what, you guys didn't think we were going to be here, but we're here, so we're going to go ahead and throw it to your face. So it'll be interesting.
The Broncos clinch a playoff spot for the first time since Peyton Manning was there. 38-0.
They kicked the crap out of Kansas City Chiefs.
They didn't even show up.
I loved it. I loved every bit of it, but the Kansas City Chiefs knew they were going to get the number 1 seed. I expect this to be a quick playoff for the Kansas City Chiefs, and I hope to be at that game when it happens, by the way. It's either the Texans, and who's the other team? Who's the Texans?
It'd be the Chargers.
The Chargers.
Yeah,
It'll
Chargers.
be either the Texans or the Chargers. Either or, I would love to see one of those teams knock them off flat on their ass. But congratulations to Bo Nix, who has had a sensational year. 26 for 29, 321 yards, 4 touchdowns. Sensational. Honestly, if you would ask me, he beats out Jaden Daniels, but they're going to give it to him. Jaden Daniels, I think Bo Nix was better than Jaden Daniels all season long. So I think he's been more consistent, and he was fun to watch.
Yeah, no, it's funny. My son's a Broncos fan, and I was like, I was giving him crap too. And I was like, hey, did the Chiefs even show up? He's like, I don't care. They got to the playoffs. It's the first time, I think, 8 years?
Yeah, since they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and so I was like, well, yeah, but then they got to play the Bills, so enjoy it while you can. He goes, don't hate, and I'm like, I'm not, but yeah, no, it was that game was nothing to talk about. It was like, did they want to play defense or whatever? They already knew what it was going into, what they were going to get. So, yeah, and the Broncos obviously had to win. So, yeah, I guess if somebody bet on the Chiefs being shut out, they probably should throw Carson Wentz a couple dollar bills too.
They could try, but it might get intercepted. The Chargers switch the 5 seed, knock you off the Raiders 34-20.
Nothing to say much about that game. I will say this. Justin Herbert's another scary guy in the playoffs. And Jim Harbaugh, I told everybody when he comes back to the NFL, this guy knows how to win in the playoffs. And this is a successful coach everywhere he's gone, to college football, to the NFL. His game fits the NFL style, and boy, oh boy, he's proven that this year. He's turned this team into a franchise that is going to have a chance to win every single year. Congratulations to Jim Harbaugh and Justin Herbert.
Yeah, I mean that's what he does, though, right? That's what Harbaugh does, and I wouldn't say Herbert's scary, but he's somebody to be worried about if he gets the chance and gets that momentum going into it. And he's got some guys that he can use to take advantage of that stuff. So it'll be interesting going into what the playoffs are going to be for him and kind of the direction that they're going to go, because it's going to be a battle, that's for sure.
I will say this, just so everybody knows. He didn't have a number 1 wide receiver this year. Okay,
I don't disagree with that.
He didn't have a number 1 wide receiver. Go look at Justin Herbert's numbers. I think, in my honest opinion, the most talented overall quarterback in the NFL. I think he's so underrated. I think Jim Harbaugh is going to get the best out of this kid. That's why he took this job. I love Justin Herbert. Suck for the big duck, Speedy, right?
I'm not a Chargers fan. There aren't many of them.
but you suck.
Pain! No, that was my mantra for the Giants, but they decided to draft Daniel Jones instead. The Seahawks knock off the Rams 30-25.
Oh, the Seahawks and the Rams. Well, I will say this. Congratulations to the Rams. And the Seahawks make it too, right?
No, they just missed.
Oh, they just missed.
Nope.
Okay, so
Yep, they're out.
congratulations to the wonderful Rams. And the Rams are dangerous. I don't know if I trust their I don't know if I trust their defense. They're a young defense, but hey, when you have Jimmy Garoppolo as your backup quarterback, if something happens with Matthew Stafford, Jimmy knows how to win. So it's anybody's ball game when it comes to the playoffs. Congratulations. There's really nothing else to talk about.
Yeah, the game was the game. That was really kind of what it is. There's nothing special that was to be talked about or what it is.
I do. I feel bad for Gino. I do.
Yeah, it sucks too, and he let me down in fantasy a little bit. But that's all I can complain about, I guess.
All right, the Jets knock off the Dolphins 32-20. Another time where the Jets get a star receiver to storm off the field.
Well, they did, but it was on the opposite team. Thank God again. It's not on the Jets because that would have been a mockery. But I will say this: congratulations to Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers had a more successful season than anybody thinks. He threw 4 touchdowns in this game. He threw over 28 touchdowns this year. The last Jet to do that was Fitzpatrick. Okay, this guy almost threw 4,000 yards this year. It's an amazing. For all the craziness that you've heard about the New York Jets, Aaron Rodgers actually had a sensational year. It's a shame. I don't think Aaron's going to come back. It depends on the coach. I will say this. The Jets still have a lot of talent, but they got to get the right guy in. As far as the Dolphins are concerned, what a joke. I feel bad. I'm surprised Mike McDaniel didn't get fired because if I were the Jets, I'd scoop him right up. But he's not going to last too long over there in the Dolphin world, the way some of these players are talking down to him. So it's a shame. Mighty Mouse might be on his way finding his hole. Speedy, you know all about finding holes.
No, that's the expertise of some of the Giants running backs this year of not finding holes.
Oh, well, we'll have to find something. We can hole in one. How's that?
Ask the Tick. He's the golf expert. Play one note hard.
No, I think, looking at the fact, this man just threw his 500th touchdown.
Yep.
And there's only been 4 others to do it. And whether you like him, whether you disagree with him, I think sometimes it gets misconstrued on all of his other ramifications and thoughts and views. But at the end of the day, we're here to talk sports. We're not here to talk about Ashaminga or whatever the hell it is or whatever it is. Ayahuasca, or I don't know.
Yeah, it is. Ayahuasca.
At the end of the day, this man is one of 5 to throw 500 touchdowns. You give credit where credit's due. I don't care if you like him and his choices or whatever. I don't care. But you give credit where credit's due. And hats off to him, man. You know what? You've played a long time, and you've been good for a long time. Don't know you, never met you, but my hat's off to you in doing what you did.
All right, the Cardinals almost double up the 49ers, 47-24.
Why are we doing this? Are you seriously going to go into this? Congratulations to the Cardinals for whipping a 49er team that had kindergartners playing. Seriously. They didn't even have – I don't even know some of the players that were on the football fields. There were players playing that I don't think will ever play in an NFL football game again. So congratulations to the Cardinals. They finally put up a 40-something points in a regular season game. Congratulations to Kyler Murray, who, did what he was supposed to do in the game, and that's actually throw the ball and not talk in a third person. And by the way, Trey McBride is a star. We've seen 3 tight ends that really stuck out this year, and one of them is Trey McBride, and the other one that really stands out is Brock Bowers. I think the NFL has really transitioned into these unbelievable wide receiving tight ends that could do everything. Congratulations, Trey McBride. I think an all-pro, all-wonder, tight end in the NFL.
Well, the tight ends now have not become necessarily just blocking tight ends. Now they're technically a receiver more so. and you have the good blocking tight ends and Kelsey and those guys, and obviously Brock Bowers. And I mean, you look at Craig Kittle. Granted, I don't like to cheer for him since he went to Iowa, but you got to give credit where credit's due, like I said. But Trey McBride, he has the most touchdowns in the first 3 years of a tight end in the history of the NFL. And I said that Brock Bowers is going to break that, and I think there's just going to be continuously more great tight ends because it's becoming a prolific entity on the field as far as athletes and whatever, because old school tight ends were just big blockers, catching out route. That's what you would do, right? No, now they run on the field, doing everything and being multi-dimensional. And I think it just makes the game better. But yeah, he's going to be fun to watch. And I think that's a big thing. But other than that this game wasn't really too exciting.
All right, now Sunday night game, the Lions blow out the Vikings 31-9.
Final game of the season was
oh gosh,
blowout, and the Lions embarrassed Sam Darnold in the Vikings, and I think they're going to meet up again in the second round. I think they would be matching up against each other in the second round.
Did you see? That's what Dan Campbell said. Did you see when they shook hands?
Yes.
He goes, "See you in the second round."
Yep. I think they're going to see each other again. And if the Vikings get out of that wild card game, I think this game will be a lot closer in the playoffs. So I think Sam Darnold's going to get himself a lot of money, and I think McCarthy's going to be playing for the Raiders next year because I think Sam Darnold's going to get signed by the Vikings. So that's my opinion. Congratulations to the Lions. Very well deserved. First time the team wins the NFC in their existence. Congratulations to the Detroit Lions. And by the way, Dan Campbell, Dan Campbell, who is, to me, the coach of the year, should have been coach of the year last year as well. So congratulations to him.
Well, I was just going to say that. Yeah, very well deserved. But, you have two guys for probably coach of the year in O'Connell and Campbell. Like, it's going to be fun to see. And I think the mutual respect, knowing like, yeah, we came out and beat you, but the next time we face you, because we know you're going to get past them, it might be a different story. So that was fun to see. I like the chess match in between that, like trying to get in the dome and whatever. So that was fun to see.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was the last whip around of the year. Well, we'll be doing a whip around again for the NBA playoffs, and we'll do the NHL too. So be careful when you say it's the end of the year, but we will do that again. We will have a new segment next week, so stay tuned for that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get them all in. We have the final segment of the night before we go. And ladies and gentlemen, we call this What's That Smell?
Hold on. What is that smell? What's that smell?
Wow, you don't see that every day.
That's how do you say that? That wasn't a good movie. That was a good movie.
Not a good movie.
That was a good movie because you're not a Hulk Hogan fan. I am.
I'm not.
By the way, that mic sounds much better than the other one. By the
Nice
way,
and crisp.
it's
Tommy
crisp,
Speed.
like Speedy's underwear, right? Nice and crisp, right?
I don't think you would want to eat my underwear, but okay.
What happened to Fish? Did he disappear?
His computer's been messing up. I'm assuming it did it again.
Oh, it's a little lost. Should we wait for Fish or?
Yeah, let's wait for the
There
Fish
he
game.
is. There he is. Fish show.
He's
Matt.
back.
There he is back.
Sorry about that, guys.
It's all right. Anyways, all right. So
Here we go.
all right. So here's what we're gonna do. It's quick. It's easy. What's that smell? We're gonna go Owen tonight. We're gonna go Scoops. We're gonna go Fish. We're gonna go Speedy. We're gonna go Jabba. We're gonna go me. It's very simple. We're gonna pick up a specific thing that's happened this week, and we're gonna tell you what it smells like. Here we go.
All right. So my first one is, you guys were talking about the Cowboys and Cooper Rush not playing. Well, that was kind of planned by old Jerry Jones. If he played this week, he would have been over 55% of snaps, and they would have had to pay him an additional $250,000. Some people say up to $500,000, but Jerry Jones was asked afterwards, "Did you even know?" He's like, "Oh no, I had no idea, but we just randomly benched him." No, it smells like bullshit. It smells like he wanted to save a little bit of money, play Trey Lance, and screw Cooper Rush out of his extra incentive, and that's just not right.
Yeah, very scummy on Jerry Jones' end. But we're going to the NBA now. Well, not even really the NBA, but you guys had the chance to listen to LiAngelo Ball's new song? No.
I don't remember anything like that.
I might swerve in that corner. Whoa, whoa. Okay, it's trash, guys. It's not good. Don't listen to it. This is what happens when you have a bunch of yes men that say, "Oh, this is some good music," but it's probably just as bad as the KSI song that was released. Probably even worse. I know LeVar Ball will be trying to hype up his son as the best rapper, considering he couldn't make it playing basketball in the G League or in the NBA, but now has turned himself into a meme with an NBA 2K soundtrack song. So it smells like LeVar Ball's ass if he didn't wipe.
Well, that probably smells very unique and tangy, if you know what I mean.
He probably does have like difficulty wiping. He's a tall dude. How do you think he wipes, Speedy? Do you think he does like a Statue of Liberty?
Java seems to be the expert on all these formations.
First of all, you got to bend forward and then you got to go from bottom to the top. I always go bottom. I don't go top to bottom. I mean, it gets all all over the place if you go top to bottom. So as you see, the video that Fish posted up when I was a baby, but that's a whole nother story. All right, Fish.
Yeah. You mean this video from when you were a baby?
You had to show it again.
Yes, that video right there. That picture. Disgusting. Makes me sick to my stomach, but I mean, that's not far from the truth.
Where's the drop?
That's true. I'm not going to lie. I was a disgusting baby.
Gross sexual crime.
No, it's good for both of us. One.
No,
it's good for both.
It's good for all of us.
There we go.
That's disgusting. You want to eat my shit?
Well,
it's one of those. It's good for neither of us.
What I have doesn't smell that bad, but is that picture. But Deshaun Watson's Achilles is not healing correctly. So he may have to undergo another surgery. They'll find out soon. But he has had a setback. So it looks like his whole season next year is in jeopardy for the Browns. Not that he was any good. Like the Browns want him back, but they have to pay him anyway. So they might as well keep him. That's the situation they're in, coming up with a draft pick where they could take a quarterback. And now it becomes more hairy if they do or not, leaving my Giants once again, probably in the lurch, not getting anybody and having, I don't know, probably have to trade for Kirk Cousins' like corpse at this point. So I'll tell you what I'll tell you what it smells like though. It smells like the scented massage oils you would get at a place where you would have to have your leg rubbed, but now you can't because you're banned from those places, and it smells so far away, but yet it's so close at the same time.
Wow.
For Deshaun Watson.
Fish is
Very poetic, right?
The Giants will sign Kirk Cousins as a bridge quarterback, traded back to the Vikings for Daniel Jones.
No. I
can't.
I just
that's
can't
a good
do
idea,
that.
actually. I give that.
You think that's a good idea?
2 thumbs up.
You would think that's a good idea. Look at what you were like when you were a baby.
Well, yeah. I know you've mentioned this too before, Errol, but a quick thing, you already know I was helping your sister move and everything. I saw a picture of you when you were in dance.
Yes.
You and your sisters,
Yes, I was.
You were a pretty good dancer?
I was a great dancer.
I heard you were the only boy.
I was the only boy.
Yeah, you're good at everything. We know.
No, I was first of all, anybody that knows, or my sister would tell you, I went to Disneyland. I danced at Disneyland back to back years. And I was the only boy in that dance school that actually was invited to be a lead dancer in that dance school. So up yours, Jabba.
Bust a little move for us right now. Quick.
So why weren't you in Magic Mike then?
I
Could have been. I could have been. I could have been.
My ass, you could have been. Get out of here, guy.
Hey, I'll tell you what, dude. I'll tell you what. When we go to New Orleans, if you don't think I can dance, I'll be sure to show you, motherfucker. So I'll show it to
Yeah.
you. I'll show it to you. I'm telling
And
you
you-
right now, if you think for 1 second I can't dance, oh my God, you're gonna be on the
I didn't say you can't dance.
You're gonna be
but-
on the floor when I show you what I could do, man. So and I'm telling you right now, you'll be very surprised. There you go. I don't do fist bumps.
Yes, that's
Don't do that.
what he's gonna do.
I don't.
I'll be on the floor because I'll pull a glute trying to do something like that and just be
No.
out of
You
control
realize
the whole
you
time.
realized I've danced too my entire life, right?
Oh
Harold
yeah.
just got to beat up the beat. Beat up the beat.
What were you, a tap dancer or a ballet dancer?
Yeah, no, it's called powwows. We have to dance in powwows.
You're a clocker. That's what you are. What do they call them? Clocking?
No, it's
Clogging.
cloggers.
Clogging.
No,
Clogging,
Get
yeah.
out of here.
In Nebraska, he's clogging.
No, we're not clogging here.
Toilet clogger.
Oh, that is something I'm good at.
Pulling?
But
what?
My
I'm
smell
not
too
pulling
is talking about clogging the toilet. Let's talk about Fox Sports Joy Taylor. I think she's been clogged a few times. And
I like
her
clogging
aspect
too. That's me.
of getting her way to the top,
Ooh.
and I mean that more ways than one, and I think it's been a couple.
Yeah.
And then she says, "Get over it." I think she got under it and over it. And after getting beat up that much, I think her thing is going to be a little fishy, because it's fishy she got to the top, and it's probably a little fishy because there's been a lot of dudes in it.
A goldfish. I like goldfish. Yeah. Swim.
I like goldfish, but not that fish.
Listen, I take that fish. I'll take it home. I'll get between that fish. I'll smack that fish. I'll bend
I'm telling Brittany.
Disappear. She's probably watching right now. Joy, if you're out there in New Orleans, I'll tap that fish.
Well, you might have to go head first in that thing.
I'm
'Cause
gonna have to tear and rip and.
I know
all
Emmanuel
that.
Acho is packing a hammer.
Yes, I think we have the first analytics and what's that smell crossover.
Yes,
This
I
is
would
definitely a
agree with you.
crossover segment.
Yes, it was.
Ugh.
Yes, it was.
All right, so I'm gonna go
Mixed
back.
with a little bit of our old classic segment,
Oh, yeah.
Speedy After Dark, which is going to have some great new additions coming soon, hopefully.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. All right, so mine, I'm actually going to go back to one of our wacky stories from about May or June in the college football transfer portal. That was Jaden Rashada, who we talked about suing Florida and Billy Napier at the time. And now he went transferred to Georgia. And now guess what he's doing? He's transferring again. Thanks to Kirby Smart and his illustrious NIL comments. Transferring again. We'll see where he ends up going. This is now his fifth school that he's gone to: Arizona State, Florida, Florida State, Georgia, and now wherever he ends up going will be the fifth one. So what does that smell like? Kirby Smart's ways with the NIL and this whole saga. It smells like the breath of the live Georgia Bulldog mascot combined with Kirby Smart's tears after they lost to Notre Dame.
Do they ever put a cap
What
on
does it
this,
smell
like going back and forth?
It smells like the bad breath of the Georgia Bulldog live mascot combined with the tears of Kirby Smart's after losing to Notre Dame.
What was that, Java?
5 schools, like when do you put like NIL, like, yeah, put a cap on it, but like this transfer portal BS and going to these schools, like you gotta like, we're not teaching these kids, these young women and these young men to become grown adults because you just can't. I don't like something, so I'm gonna move on. Like, that's not how the world works. Like, I get one time. I get it. But now 5 schools? oh, I don't like something, so I'm going to move on. So is that what you're going to do in your professional career? Am I trying to create a young woman and a young man to become great husbands, wives, and all this other stuff? Like, what are we doing?
There are guys that are in jail right now that want to become women.
By the way, you could probably place a future bet on a Georgia national championship appearance. All the other teams he transferred to did well after he left.
Right.
All right.
Maybe he's like a good luck charm.
It's like good luck Chuck or whatever.
Yeah, like pass him around.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, my what's that smell goes to President Biden, ladies and gentlemen, as he pardoned 2 death row inmates and guys that killed. They were heading to death row. They actually were on their way in the next 2 years to be murdered or killed, and he pardoned them. And both guys came out and said that, quote unquote, said that they do not want to be commuted by a president that is a piece of garbage. So they'd rather be dead than be commuted by this ass of a president. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. You know what that smells like? It smells like an African's elephantitis ball sack.
Hold on. Did you say commuted? Don't you mean exonerated?
Well, it says commuted last month. So sentenced were commuted last month.
If they are already in jail, it's commuted.
Yes.
Oh, they were already in jail?
Yes.
Yeah, they were like in jail, like on death row, and he got up. It's not just 2, Errol. He got rid of like dozens. I thought like a week ago.
But this is the story right now. These 2 guys would rather die than be let. Obviously let from going. Getting pushed away or whatever the f it is.
Well, their choice.
Yeah, it's different. Like my dad was the judge in the prison for over 20 years. So I was like, no, I'm pretty sure that means they're exonerated. But I guess it's different everywhere.
I will say
it means the same thing. It's just the technical term because they're already in
because they're already in.
Yeah.
Nevertheless,
I guess I could ask my dad.
It's an interesting story that 2 guys would rather die than be pardoned by.
Well, he's gonna do it now and like whatever and like when his son and whatever, like we don't get into politics here, so we're gonna cut it off there.
But it is funny. That's why I wanted to bring it up because I think it's a fun.
No, I agree.
You'd rather die. You'd rather die than be pardoned by the president of the United States.
So you're trying to tell me you got a get out of jail free card and you're on death row and you're like, no, I don't like the guy that makes the card. That's what you're telling me? Are you out of your mind? And the answer is yes. They're on death row. They're out of their mind. So,
but at the same time, they probably have it better in there than they do if they did.
Yeah, that might be true, Joe. But there's a lot of that where there's guys that if you ever watch there's not a great example because it's like belittling a lot of people, but like Shawshank Redemption, where he gets out of jail and then he can't.
One of the greatest movies of all time.
You know what I mean? Because I don't want to say that's everyone's experience, but he ends up, spoiler alert, the movie came out 30 years ago, but he kills himself. Because he doesn't know how to handle himself outside of jail. And then the next guy gets out and he stays in the same place that he stayed in and sees his name carved into the wall. And it's just like one of those feelings like, oh, wow, what do you do?
And I understand that too, because my dad, 30 years in the prison. And so, like, I've seen the electric chair. We were one of the last 2 states to have the electric chair. Was us in Texas. I used to park my dad's scooter, which was a storage room, but it was the viewing room for the electric chair. So I've seen it more times than you can count, and that was just normal for me. Like, my dad, like, this is back, and this is aging myself, where you still had your name in the phone book. My dad never took his name out of the phone book. I would have prisoners get out and they would come to the house. I remember I was playing basketball in the driveway and a gentleman comes up and he was like, "Is Chief here?" That was my dad's name. And I'm like, oh shit. I don't know what's going to go down right here. Like, I can't run inside to get dad's gun if something goes down. but it's just crazy. Like in that instance, what you're saying are like people doing these certain things, and like my dad always said, he was when I shut my light switch off, everything ended. But he goes, just because I'm in here doesn't mean I'm better. And it's crazy when like my dad never brought work home, and he dealt with the worst. He was sliced. He had 2 riots. He was sliced twice, stabbed once, shot once. I think that's right. I'd probably have to ask him, but he's probably sleeping right now. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy in that aspect. But yeah, if you're like, nah, the get out of jail free card.
Never made
Now
any
what? Now at this point, now if like when Trump when he gets inaugurated again, and he would do it, they'd be like, all right, I'm out. See ya.
I guess they're Trump fans. They're supportive, so they'd rather die than listen or agree to be pardoned by President Biden. So
yeah, I don't.
Congratulations to them.
I'm
Anyways,
trying to get out.
By the way, before we go, Gavin Lux was acquired from the Dodgers to the Cincinnati Reds. I think it is.
I said that.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know.
That's Nick Goody's National League champion Cincinnati Reds.
Yeah, that's why I said it when Goody came on.
Oh, I missed it. Anyways, just over the head. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I want to give a shout out to our very special guest. Thank you to Scooby Axson for joining us. It was a fantastic interview. Thank you, Scooby. Hopefully everything moves forward with your wife. I hope everything's good. So thank you for joining us for the first time on the show. Thank you to all the fans. Keep following us on social medias. All our social medias are open. So please keep following us, keep checking out and downloading all the stuff that we have on social media. We will be back on Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. sharp. So definitely stay tuned. Who do we have on, Speedy?
Jabba, you get in touch with Chipper Jones. This is supposed to be his
Yep,
day. We'll see if we can get him.
Yep, just waiting.
There you go. We might have Chipper Jones. So there you go. Anyways, thank you to all the fans. Keep listening to us. We'll be back on Wednesday. Good night, everybody.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.